Hello and welcome back to Midnight Mind. Tonight we're going to explore dreams and their hidden meanings, the strange theater that plays every night behind your closed eyes, the landscapes your mind builds while you sleep, the stories it tells, the symbols it creates, the messages it might be trying to send. We'll wander through the science of dreaming, the mystery of what dreams mean, and the quiet ways your sleeping mind makes sense of your waking life. Let tonight's discoveries guide you gently toward rest. You don't need to remember everything. Just let these ideas drift through your mind like clouds across a quiet sky. Some will linger, others will fade, and that's perfectly fine. So settle in. Close your eyes if you'd like. Breathe deeply. Let your body sink into comfort. And let's begin. Everyone dreams, every single night. Even people who say they never dream are dreaming. They're just not remembering. During a typical night of sleep, you cycle through multiple dream periods. Most occur during REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, when your brain is almost as active as when you're awake. Your body is paralyzed, so you don't act out your dreams. But your mind is creating entire worlds, building scenarios, generating emotions, telling stories that feel completely real while they're happening. Dreams have fascinated humans for as long as we've been human. Ancient civilizations believed dreams were messages from gods or glimpses of the future. They had dream interpreters, priests who would decode what your dreams meant. Some cultures believed you traveled to other realms when you dreamed, that your soul left your body and journeyed through spiritual dimensions, that what you experienced there was as real as waking life, just in a different reality. Modern science has a different explanation. Dreams are your brain processing the day's experiences, consolidating memories, working through emotions, making connections between new information and old, rehearsing scenarios, solving problems. It's maintenance work, essentially. Your brain organizing itself while you sleep. But that doesn't make dreams less mysterious. Because why does the brain do this work through stories, through symbols, through scenarios that often make no logical sense? You spend about 2 hours dreaming every night. That's a significant portion of your life spent in an alternate reality, a reality your own mind creates, where the usual rules don't apply, where you can fly or breathe underwater or talk to people who've been dead for years, where time moves strangely, where one place transforms into another without transition, where impossible things feel completely normal while they're happening. Most dreams are forgotten within minutes of waking. Your brain doesn't bother to store them in long-term memory. They're ephemeral. They exist in the moment and then dissolve. Sometimes you wake with just a feeling, a sense that you dreamed something important, something meaningful, but you can't remember what, just an emotional residue, anxiety or joy or sadness with no context. The dream itself is gone, but its mood lingers. The dreams you do remember are usually the ones you wake from directly. If you wake during or just after a dream, there's a chance you'll remember it. But if you sleep through to another sleep stage, the dream gets overwritten, lost. This is why keeping a dream journal works. You train yourself to wake slightly after dreams, and you immediately record them before they fade. Over time, you remember more. Not because you're dreaming more, but because you're catching them before they disappear. Your dreams reflect what you're thinking about during the day. Not directly, not literally, but thematically. If you're stressed about work, You might dream about being unprepared for something, about showing up to an important event and realizing you forgot something crucial. The content might be completely different from your actual life, but the emotion is the same. The underlying concern expressed through different symbols. This is what makes dream interpretation complicated. Dreams don't speak in literal language. They speak in symbols, in metaphors, in emotions. Water might represent emotions. Houses might represent the self. Flying might represent freedom or escape. But these symbols aren't universal. What water means in your dreams might be different from what it means in someone else's dreams. Because symbols are personal. They're built from your experiences, your associations, your emotional history. Freud believed dreams were wish fulfillment, that they expressed desires you couldn't acknowledge while awake, desires that were too threatening, too unacceptable, too disturbing to conscious awareness. So they got disguised, transformed into symbols. The manifest content, what actually happens in the dream, hides the latent content, what the dream really means. Interpreting dreams meant decoding the symbols to reveal the hidden wishes. Jung had a different view. He believed dreams were messages from the unconscious to the conscious mind. Not disguises, but communications. The unconscious was trying to tell you something, to show you aspects of yourself you weren't seeing, to compensate for one-sided attitudes, to warn you of dangers, to guide you toward wholeness. Dreams weren't about repressed desires. They were about psychological balance, about integrating different parts of yourself, about becoming who you truly are. Modern neuroscience has yet another view. Dreams are random neural firing that your brain tries to make sense of. During sleep, neurons fire in patterns. Your brain, always seeking meaning, weaves these patterns into narratives. It creates stories to explain the random activity. This is why dreams are so bizarre. They're improvised stories built from neural noise. The meaning isn't in the dream itself, but in how your brain chooses to construct a narrative from random activity. But many neuroscientists aren't satisfied with this explanation either. Because dreams aren't completely random. They have patterns, themes that repeat, emotions that feel significant, connections to waking life that seem too precise to be accidental. So maybe dreams are both random neural activity and meaningful psychological process, both noise and signal. The brain processing information in a way that's partly mechanical and partly creative. What's clear is that dreams serve a function. Animals dream. Dogs twitch and whimper in their sleep, clearly experiencing something. Even some birds dream. It's an old evolutionary feature. It must do something important or it wouldn't have persisted. Sleep is vulnerable. You're unconscious. You can't respond to threats. If dreaming wasn't necessary, evolution would have eliminated it. But it's still here, still happening every night in every sleeping brain. One function of dreaming is memory consolidation. During sleep, your brain reviews what happened during the day. It decides what to keep and what to discard. Important information gets transferred to long-term memory. Unimportant details get deleted. Dreams might be the visible part of this process. The experiences and thoughts being reviewed, sorted, stored. You dream about things that mattered during the day because your brain is deciding they matter. encoding them, connecting them to existing memories. Another function is emotional processing. Things that bothered you during the day get worked through in dreams. You dream about conflicts, frustrations, fears, not always directly, sometimes symbolically, but the emotional content is there. And by dreaming about it, by experiencing it in this safe, sleeping state, you process it, you integrate it, you reduce its emotional charge. This is why you sometimes wake feeling better about something that upset you the day before. Your dreams helped you work through it. Dreams also seem to be involved in problem solving. There are famous stories of discoveries made in dreams. The structure of the benzene molecule came to a chemist in a dream. He saw a snake eating its own tail and realized the molecule was a ring. Paul McCartney heard the melody for Yesterday in a dream. Mary Shelley dreamed the central scene of Frankenstein. These aren't just legends. Many people report that solutions to problems they've been struggling with appear in dreams. This happens because dreaming allows a different kind of thinking. Waking consciousness is linear, logical, focused. You think step by step toward a goal. But dreaming consciousness is associative. It makes unexpected connections. It sees relationships between things that seem unrelated. It combines elements in novel ways. This is perfect for creative problem solving, for seeing solutions that logical thinking missed. Some people can control their dreams. This is called lucid dreaming. You become aware that you're dreaming while the dream is still happening. And once you're aware, you can sometimes influence what happens. Change the scenario. Fly deliberately instead of accidentally. Face a threat instead of running from it. Talk to dream characters and ask them questions. It's like being awake inside the dream world. Lucid dreaming takes practice. Most people have had one or two lucid dreams accidentally. You're in a dream and something doesn't make sense. You think, wait, this must be a dream. And suddenly you're aware. You know you're dreaming. Sometimes this wakes you up immediately, but sometimes the dream continues and you're conscious inside it. It's a strange, thrilling experience. The dream world is as vivid as waking reality, but you know it's not real, and you can experiment. See what's possible in this space your mind has created. There are techniques to induce lucid dreaming. Reality checks during the day, like looking at your hands or reading text multiple times to see if it changes. These habits carry over into dreams. Eventually, you'll do a reality check in a dream, realize you're dreaming, and become lucid. Keeping a dream journal helps too. The more attention you pay to dreams, the more aware of them you become, and awareness is the key to lucidity. Some people use lucid dreaming therapeutically. If you have recurring nightmares, becoming lucid lets you face what you're afraid of. You can turn toward the threat instead of running. Ask it what it wants. Sometimes it transforms, sometimes it speaks, sometimes just facing it makes it lose its power. You realize it's your own creation, your own fear given form, and you can choose how to respond to it. Nightmares are interesting. They're dreams with strong negative emotion, fear, anxiety, dread. Everyone has them occasionally. Children have them more often than adults. Nightmares often involve being chased, falling, being attacked, losing something important, arriving somewhere unprepared. The content varies, but the emotion is consistent. Something is wrong. Something is threatening. You're in danger. Nightmares seem to serve a function too. They're rehearsals for threat. Your brain simulating dangerous situations so you're prepared if something similar happens in waking life. This is the threat simulation theory. Evolution shaped dreaming to practice dealing with danger. Most of life was dangerous for most of human history. Predators, enemies, accidents, all constant threats. Dreaming lets you practice responding without actual risk. The fear you felt was real, training your body and mind, but the threat wasn't. Modern life has fewer physical threats, but plenty of psychological ones. So nightmares shifted content. Instead of being chased by predators, you're chased by vague dangers. Instead of physical harm, you face social humiliation or failure. The mechanism is the same. Your brain generating threat scenarios, letting you experience and respond to them, building resilience, preparing you. Recurring nightmares often point to something unresolved, an ongoing fear or anxiety that hasn't been processed. The dream keeps trying to work through it, keeps presenting it in different forms. If you can identify what the nightmare is really about, what fear it's expressing, sometimes that's enough. Conscious awareness of the issue reduces the need for the dream to keep processing it. Some dreams feel prophetic. You dream something and then it happens. This can feel spooky, like you saw the future. But it's usually coincidence combined with selective memory. You have thousands of dreams, most are forgotten. Most contain events that don't happen. But when a dream happens to match reality, you remember it. It stands out, it feels significant. You forget all the dreams that didn't predict anything and remember the one that did. Sometimes what feels like prophecy is actually your unconscious noticing things your conscious mind missed. You pick up subtle cues during the day. Your unconscious processes them, and in a dream, it presents a scenario based on those cues. When the scenario plays out, it feels like prediction, but it was actually inference. Your brain putting pieces together below awareness and showing you the result in a dream. That said, we don't fully understand consciousness. We don't fully understand time. There are aspects of dreaming that remain mysterious. Unexplained experiences. Dreams that seem too specific, too accurate to be coincidence. Science hasn't explained everything. Maybe it will. Maybe dreams that feel prophetic will turn out to have mechanical explanations. Or maybe there are aspects of mind and reality that current science can't access. Either way, the experience of a prophetic dream is powerful. It feels meaningful, and meaning matters, regardless of mechanism. Dreams can be healing. There's growing interest in using dreams therapeutically. Dream incubation is an ancient practice being revived. Before sleep, you focus on a question or problem. You ask your dreaming mind to work on it. And often, you'll dream about it. Not always with clear answers, but with images, feelings, scenarios that shed light on the question. Your unconscious offering perspective your conscious mind didn't have. Some therapists work directly with dreams. You bring your dreams to therapy. You explore what they might mean, not by applying universal symbols, but by following your associations. What does this image make you think of? How did this dream make you feel? What in your life does this remind you of? Through this process, Dreams become a way to access unconscious material, concerns and conflicts you weren't aware of consciously, but your dreaming mind is processing. Dreams also connect us to others. Across cultures, across time, humans have dreamed. We all spend our nights in these private worlds our minds create. We all experience the strangeness of impossible things feeling normal. The emotion of dreams, the bizarre logic. This is a universal human experience. When you share a dream with someone, you're sharing something intimate, a glimpse into your inner world, and often they recognize something in your dream. They've felt that way. They've had similar dreams. Dreams are private, but also shared, part of collective human experience. Different cultures have different relationships with dreams. Some treat them as important messages, others largely ignore them. Western culture has become increasingly dismissive of dreams. They're seen as meaningless noise, random mental activity, nothing to take seriously. But this is unusual historically. Most cultures have valued dreams, seen them as sources of insight, guidance, connection to spiritual realms. Indigenous cultures often have rich dream traditions. Dream sharing is common. People tell their dreams to the community. Elders interpret them. Important decisions might be made based on dreams. Dreams are treated as real experiences, not lesser or false, just different. They're woven into daily life. Given weight and attention, this seems healthy. It honors the fact that you spend significant time dreaming, that dreams carry emotion and sometimes insight, that dismissing them entirely means dismissing part of your own experience. Children are closer to their dreams. The boundary between dreaming and waking is more fluid for them. They might wake and continue a dream story, or incorporate waking experiences into dreams more vividly. They take dreams seriously. They're frightened by nightmares, delighted by good dreams. They haven't learned yet to dismiss dreams as meaningless. And maybe we lose something when we learn that dismissal. Maybe dreams deserve more attention than modern culture gives them. The content of dreams changes across your lifetime. Children dream more about animals. Teenagers dream more about social situations, friendships, identity. Adults dream about work, relationships, responsibilities. Elderly people dream more about the past, about people who've died. Dreams reflect what occupies your mind at each life stage. What you're working through, what matters to you. Dreams can be absurdly funny. You wake laughing at something completely ridiculous that happened in a dream. The humor often doesn't survive waking. When you try to explain the dream, it loses its comedy. But in the moment, it was hilarious. Your dreaming mind has a sense of humor. It creates situations and juxtapositions that strike you as funny, even though they make no logical sense. Dreams can be intensely sad. You might wake crying from a dream. The sadness real, even though the cause wasn't. You dreamed someone died who isn't dead. Or you lost something that you don't actually have. Or you were in a situation that never happened. But the grief is real. The emotion is genuine. Your brain generated the scenario, but the feeling is yours. This is part of what makes dreams powerful. They create real emotions from imaginary scenarios. Dreams can be erotic. Sexual dreams are common, sometimes involving people you're attracted to, sometimes involving people you're not, sometimes involving scenarios that would disturb you if you thought about them while awake. But dreams aren't bound by waking morality or logic. They explore. They generate scenarios. They play with possibilities. What happens in dreams doesn't necessarily reflect waking desires. Dreams aren't wishes, they're explorations. Some people dream in color, some in black and white. Some aren't sure. Color in dreams might depend on how much attention you pay to color while awake. If you're visually oriented, if you notice colors, you probably dream in color. If you're less visual, your dreams might be less colorful. But this varies, and it's hard to remember accurately. By the time you're awake and thinking about whether the dream was in color, the dream has faded. You're not sure anymore. Blind people dream. People who were born blind dream without visual imagery. Their dreams are built from other senses: sound, touch, smell, emotion, thought. People who lost vision after having it dream visually using visual memories. Dreams adapt to how you experience the world. They use whatever senses you have. They create worlds from the information available to you. Dreams can continue across nights. You have a dream. Wake, go back to sleep days later, and the dream continues. This is more common with recurring dream settings. Some people have dream locations they return to repeatedly. A house that doesn't exist in waking life, but appears in many dreams. A landscape, a city. These places feel familiar in dreams because you've been there before, in previous dreams. Your mind builds persistent geography in dream space. You can dream you're someone else, experiencing life from a different body, a different perspective. This is disorienting when you wake. For a moment, you're not sure who you are. The dream identity felt real while it was happening. You were that person. You had their memories, their feelings. And then you wake and remember your actual identity. Dreams let you try on different selves, experience different possibilities of being. This is one of the strangest aspects of dreaming, that your sense of self can be so fluid, so changeable. While awake, you know who you are. Your identity feels stable, fixed. You're you. You have your history, your body, your personality, your life. But in dreams, all of that can shift. You can suddenly be someone else entirely. And it doesn't feel strange while it's happening. It feels normal, natural. You are that person, completely, utterly. Sometimes you're watching yourself in the dream, seeing yourself from outside, like you're both the character and the camera. This is called third-person dreaming. You see yourself doing things, moving through the dream world, but you're also experiencing it, feeling what that dream you feels. It's a split perspective, both inside and outside at once. This almost never happens while awake. You're always inside your own perspective. But dreams can do both. Sometimes you're a completely different person, a different gender, a different age, a different body. You might be a child in the dream, even though you're an adult in waking life. And in the dream, you have child memories, child concerns. You're not an adult pretending to be a child. You are a child. Your dream self has a history that isn't your real history. Relationships that aren't your real relationships. A life that isn't your real life. And it all feels real. While you're in it, you don't question it. You don't think, wait, this isn't my real life. You just live it, experience it, feel it. The dream identity is total, complete. It's only when you wake that you realize you were someone else, that you were living a different life, that none of it was real. And for a few moments, there's confusion, disorientation. Who am I? Which life is real? Which memories are mine? This confusion usually passes quickly. Within seconds, you remember. You're you. The dream was a dream. The other identity was temporary, illusory. Your real identity reasserts itself, but those few moments of confusion are fascinating. They show how fluid identity actually is, how much of it is constructed, maintained by memory and habit and context. Take those away, even briefly, and you can be someone else, completely, convincingly. Some philosophers have wondered if this tells us something about the nature of self. If you can be someone else so completely in a dream, what does that say about identity? Is there a core self that persists? Or is self more like a story you tell yourself? A narrative constructed from memories and experiences and beliefs? In dreams, the narrative changes, and you become a different character, a different story. And it feels just as real as your waking story. Though this doesn't mean the waking self isn't real. It is. It's the one that persists, the one that has continuity, the one that connects all your experiences across time. But dreams show that identity is more flexible than it feels, that under the right circumstances, your brain can generate a completely different sense of self, with different memories, different feelings, different life. And you'll believe it completely, live it fully, until you wake. This capacity might serve a purpose. Dreaming as someone else lets you experience different perspectives, different lives, different ways of being. This builds empathy, expands your sense of what's possible, shows you that identity isn't fixed, that you could be otherwise, that the person you are now is just one possibility among many. Not the only possibility, not necessarily the best possibility, just the one that happened. When you wake from these dreams, sometimes there's a strange feeling, a sense of having lived another life, of having been someone else. And that other life, that other person, they're gone now. They only existed for the duration of the dream. They died when you woke. This can feel oddly sad, like you've lost something, lost a version of yourself that could have been, but never will be. Dreams create temporary selves, and when the dream ends, those selves dissolve, return to the nothing they came from. Time is strange in dreams. Sometimes dreams feel like they lasted hours, but only minutes of sleep passed. Sometimes the reverse. A quick dream that seemed to last seconds, but you slept for an hour. There's debate about whether dreams actually occur in compressed time or if it just feels that way in memory. Do you experience dream events in real time and then remember them as compressed? Or does the dream actually unfold faster than waking experience? We're not sure. The question is harder to answer than it seems, because you can only report on dreams after you wake, and memory is unreliable. Maybe the dream actually did last hours in your subjective experience. Maybe your brain was generating experience at normal speed, and you lived through all those dream events in real time. Or maybe the dream only lasted seconds, but your brain created the memory of it lasting longer, generated a false sense of duration. There's no way to know from inside the experience. You can't check a clock while dreaming, or rather, you can, but clocks in dreams don't work properly. Time doesn't work properly. Some researchers have tried to study this by having lucid dreamers signal from inside dreams. Lucid dreamers can control their eye movements even while asleep. So, they signal by moving their eyes in a predetermined pattern. Researchers watch the eye movements and can tell when the dreamer is signaling. They ask the dreamer to signal at the start of a task and at the end. Then they measure how much time passed in real sleep time, and they ask the dreamer how long the task felt like it took. Results are mixed. Sometimes dream time and real time match up fairly well. The dreamer thinks a task took 30 seconds and 30 seconds of real time passed. But other times there's a discrepancy. The dreamer thinks a task took minutes, but only seconds of real time passed. Or the reverse. So time in dreams is variable. Sometimes it matches waking time. Sometimes it compresses. Sometimes it expands. There doesn't seem to be a consistent rule. This variability makes sense given how dreams work. Dreams aren't continuous experiences. They're constructed from fragments. Your brain generates scenes, emotions, sensations, and stitches them together into a narrative. But the stitching isn't seamless. There are gaps, jumps, transitions that don't make logical sense. You're in one place, and then suddenly you're in another place. No journey between them, no transition, just a cut, like editing in a film. While you're in the dream, you don't notice these cuts. Your brain smooths over them, creates the sense of continuity. But when you remember the dream later, the structure becomes more apparent. You realize there were jumps, that things didn't flow the way waking experience flows, and this affects your sense of how long the dream lasted. Because you're not measuring continuous time, you're measuring fragmented time, pieces stitched together. And your estimate of duration is based on how many pieces there were and how they felt, not on actual continuous experience. Dreams also mess with time by having different rules for causation. In waking life, time moves forward. Cause precedes effect. Events follow a logical sequence. But in dreams, this breaks down. Effects can precede causes. You can know something is going to happen before it happens. You can feel the emotion of an event before the event occurs. Causation is loose, flexible, nonlinear. And this makes time feel strange. If causes and effects aren't properly ordered, how can you track time? How can you say what happened first and what happened second? Sometimes in dreams, you're aware of a backstory that didn't happen in the dream. You know things about the dream world, about relationships and events that you didn't experience. The dream just gives you that knowledge, implants it. You have memories of things that didn't happen, that never were shown, but you remember them anyway, and they inform your actions in the dream. You avoid a character because you remember they betrayed you. But you never dreamed the betrayal, you just remember it. This is the dream constructing history, building a past that never was. And this constructed past collapses time, makes the dream feel like it has more temporal depth than it actually does. You can dream you're dreaming. A dream within a dream. You're in a dream. You wake up, but you're still dreaming. Sometimes this happens multiple times in one dream. Layers of false awakenings. Each time you think you're finally awake, you realize you're still dreaming. This, this can be unsettling. It messes with your sense of what's real, makes you question whether you're actually awake even after you truly are. False awakenings are a particular kind of strange. You're having a dream. Maybe something unusual happens, something that makes you realize it's a dream. You feel yourself waking. You open your eyes. You're in your bed, your room. Everything looks normal, familiar. You think, okay, that was a weird dream. You get up, start your day, and then something else weird happens, something impossible. And you realize, wait, I'm still dreaming. This isn't real either. And you wake up again, or try to, but you might still be dreaming. This can happen multiple times in a row. Layers of false waking. Each time you think you've finally reached reality, and each time you discover you haven't. You're still in the dream, still in the construction, and each layer feels like Wang feels real. You can't tell from inside the experience that it's still a dream. It's only when something impossible happens that you realize. And even then, you might not. You might accept the impossible thing, incorporate it into the dream narrative, not realize you're still asleep. When you finally do wake, truly wake, there's a lingering doubt. How do you know this is real? How do you know you're not still dreaming? You just were in multiple layers of false waking. Each one felt real. Each one convinced you it was reality. What if this is another layer? What if you're still asleep? There's no definitive test. Nothing you can do to prove to yourself absolutely that you're awake. Eventually, the feeling fades. Reality asserts itself through its continuity and consistency. But for those first few moments, you're genuinely uncertain. This experience has philosophical implications. It's the dream version of the problem of skepticism. How do you know anything is real? How do you know you're not dreaming right now? Descartes asked this question, used it to strip away everything that could be doubted. Dreams feel real while you're in them. You can't tell from inside the experience that it's not reality, so how can you ever be certain you're awake? That your waking life isn't just another dream? Most people don't worry about this much. In practice, you can tell the difference between dreaming and waking. Waking life has consistency, stability, logic. Dreams are unstable, changeable, irrational. But the false awakening experience challenges this, because those false wakings felt stable, felt consistent, felt exactly like real waking. So the boundary between dreaming and waking isn't as clear as it usually seems. Dreams can mimic waking perfectly, at least briefly. Some people have frequent false awakenings. They happen regularly. These people often develop strategies to test whether they're really awake. They try to read text. In dreams, text is often unstable. It changes when you look away and look back. So, if you can read the same text twice and it stays the same, you might be awake. Or they try to turn on a light switch. Light switches often don't work properly in dreams. Or they look at their hands. In dreams, hands often look strange. Wrong number of fingers. Distorted. But none of these tests is completely reliable. Sometimes text is stable in dreams. Sometimes lights work. Sometimes hands look normal. The only truly reliable way to know you're awake is to wait, to see if reality continues to be consistent, to see if time flows normally, to see if cause and effect work properly. Eventually, if you're awake, these things will be true. And if you're dreaming, eventually something impossible will happen, something that breaks the illusion. But in the moment, in those first few seconds after waking, you can't know for sure. You're between worlds, between dreaming and waking, and the boundary is uncertain. This uncertainty is part of what makes false awakenings unsettling. They challenge your basic sense of reality, your ability to know what's real. They show you that your mind can fool you completely, can create perfect simulations of reality, can make you believe you're awake when you're not. And if your mind can do that, what else might it be doing? What else might be illusion? What else might be dream? Most people have false awakenings occasionally. They're not common, but they're not rare. Often they happen when you're stressed, when you're worried about something. The worry carries into the dream. You dream about waking up and starting your day, and the worry makes the dream vivid, realistic. You're anxious about being late or forgetting something, so you dream about waking up, about getting ready, about the very thing you're worried about. And it feels real because the emotion is real, the anxiety is real, the dream is constructed around that real emotion. Sometimes false awakenings happen in lucid dreams. You realize you're dreaming. You have that moment of lucidity. But then instead of staying lucid, you dream that you wake up. You lose the lucidity. The dream resets, and you're back in non-lucid dreaming. But now you're dreaming about being awake, about having woken from the dream. This is the dream defending itself, preserving itself. When you become lucid, you gain control. You can change the dream or end it. The false awakening is a way of keeping you in the dream, of making you think the dream is over when it's not. Animals appear frequently in dreams, sometimes as themselves, sometimes as symbols, sometimes they talk, sometimes they're threatening, sometimes they're guides. Jung believed animals in dreams often represent instinctual energies, parts of yourself that are more natural, less socialized. The animal self, Freud saw them as symbols too, but interpreted them sexually. Modern dream work is less dogmatic. The meaning depends on your relationship with animals, what they represent to you personally. Animals in dreams are interesting because they're clearly not realistic, even when they look realistic. A dog appears in your dream. It looks like a dog, acts like a dog, but it's not a dog. It's your mind's construction of a dog, your memory and imagination creating the image, the behavior, the presence of dog. And sometimes the dream dog does things real dogs don't do, talks, gives advice, transforms into something else. The dream treats this as normal. You accept it. This shows how flexible dream logic is, how easily impossible things become possible. Often, animals in dreams carry emotional weight. They're not just present, they mean something, feel significant. A wolf appears and you feel threatened, or protected, or curious. The wolf isn't just an animal, it's a presence, a force, something that represents something else. But what? That depends on you, on your history with wolves, real or imagined, on what wolves mean in your culture, on what associations you have. For one person, a wolf might represent danger, predation, fear. For another person, a wolf might represent freedom, wildness, power. Same animal, completely different meaning. This is why universal dream symbol dictionaries don't work very well. But meaning isn't universal, it's personal. Your wolf means what wolves mean to you, not what they mean in general, not what they mean to other people. Jung's idea about animals representing instinctual energies is useful, not as a universal rule, but as a possibility. Animals are less civilized than humans. They live by instinct, by drives, by natural impulses. They don't have social rules or moral codes or self-consciousness. They just are what they are. So when an animal appears in your dream, it might represent parts of yourself that are like that, parts that are natural, unfiltered, instinctual, parts that don't follow social rules, that just want what they want. A dog might represent loyalty, friendship, companionship, or it might represent aggression, dominance, territoriality. Dogs have both gentle and fierce aspects. Your dream dog shows you which aspect is active, which part of your instinctual self is expressing itself right now. A cat might represent independence, self-sufficiency, mystery, or neediness, demand for attention, unpredictability. Again, cats contain multiple possibilities. Your dream shows you which one matters in your current psychological situation. Birds often represent freedom, perspective, transcendence, because they fly. They're not bound to the ground like we are. They can rise above, see from a distance, move freely through the air. So dreaming of birds might mean you're seeking that, seeking freedom from constraints, seeking higher perspective, seeking transcendence. Or it might mean you already have these things. The bird is showing you what you possess, what you've achieved. But birds can also be threatening, attacking, pecking, swarming. In horror movies, birds often represent nature turning against humans. Normal things becoming dangerous. Hitchcock's The Birds made this famous. So a dream of threatening birds might represent anxiety about the natural world, about things beyond your control, about normal things becoming dangerous. Snakes are complex dream symbols. They're common across cultures, often frightening. Snakes represent many things. Transformation because they shed their skin, healing because of the medical caduceus, danger because they're venomous, sexuality because of their phallic shape, wisdom because they're associated with ancient knowledge in many traditions, evil or temptation because of the serpent in Eden. Your dream snake carries whichever of these meanings resonates with your current situation, with what you're processing emotionally. Some people have recurring animal dreams. The same animal appears again and again. This suggests that animal represents something important, something ongoing in your psychological life, a particular instinctual energy that's active, a particular part of yourself you're working with or struggling with. The animal keeps appearing because the issue it represents isn't resolved, isn't integrated. Your unconscious keeps presenting it, keeps trying to get your attention, keeps saying, look at this, deal with this, understand this. Sometimes animals in dreams are guides. This is common across many spiritual traditions. The idea of a totem animal, a spirit animal, an animal that represents you or guides you or protects you. In dreams, this might appear as an animal that leads you somewhere, shows you something, helps you, protects you from danger. The dream animal is benevolent, wise, powerful. It's on your side. It's helping you navigate the dream world and, by extension, your inner world. Carl Jung had a famous dream early in his life. He dreamed he was in a cave underground, and in the cave was a phallus on a throne. This was disturbing and fascinating to him. He interpreted it later as representing the instinctual self, the primitive, powerful, natural self that exists beneath consciousness, the animal self. The dream showed him this self exists, is real, is powerful, and needs to be acknowledged, not repressed, not denied, but integrated, made conscious, brought into relationship with the conscious ego. This is what animals in dreams often do. They show you the parts of yourself that are natural, instinctual, not socialized, not civilized. Parts that just are, that just want, that just feel. And the dream is asking you to acknowledge these parts, to see them, to stop pretending they don't exist, because they do exist. They're part of you. And if you don't acknowledge them consciously, they'll act unconsciously. They'll influence you in ways you don't recognize. But if you acknowledge them, if you see them, if you integrate them, they become allies. Versus strengths, flying dreams are common. They usually feel wonderful, liberating. You realize you can fly and you take off. Sometimes you have to work at it, flapping your arms or running and jumping. Sometimes you just float effortlessly. Flying often represents freedom, escape from limitations, rising above problems. But again, personal meaning matters. For some people, flying dreams are anxious, the fear of falling, the effort of staying aloft. Same dream content, different emotional tone, different meaning. There's something primal about flying dreams. Humans can't fly. We're earthbound, but we dream about it regularly. This suggests flying represents something deep, something archetypal, something that speaks to fundamental human desires or fears. Maybe it's about transcendence, about rising above our limitations, about becoming more than we are. We're stuck on the ground, bound by gravity. But in dreams, we can break free, can rise, can soar, can see from above, can move through space freely. This is wish fulfillment. But it's more than that. It's accessing a sense of possibility, a sense that we're not limited to what we currently are. Flying dreams often start with surprise. You're in a dream, walking or standing, and you suddenly realize you can fly. You jump, and instead of coming back down, you keep going up. Or you start running, and your feet leave the ground. Or you just float without trying. The realization is sudden, surprising, delightful. And then you're flying, moving through the air, looking down at the world below, feeling the rush of movement and freedom. Sometimes flying in dreams takes effort. You have to flap your arms like wings, or you have to run and jump to get airborne, or you have to concentrate to stay aloft. If your attention wavers, you start to sink. This effortful flying might represent struggles with freedom, with transcendence. You can achieve it, but it's not easy. It requires work, requires focus, requires effort. You can rise above your problems, but only through persistent effort, not effortlessly, not automatically. Other times, flying is effortless. You just float. You just move through the air as easily as you walk on the ground. This might represent a different psychological state, one where freedom comes easily, where rising above problems feels natural, where transcendence is accessible without struggle. This is a different kind of dream, one that shows you possibility without resistance, without effort, just pure freedom and joy. Flying dreams can also be lucid dreams. Once you realize you're flying, you might realize you're dreaming, because you know you can't fly in waking life. So if you're flying, you must be dreaming. This realization can trigger lucidity. Suddenly you're aware you're in a dream. And once you're aware, you can control the flying, can go wherever you want, can fly high or low, fast or slow, can perform acrobatics, can explore the dream world from above. Lucid flying dreams are among the most exhilarating dream experiences because you're consciously experiencing something impossible, consciously accessing this sense of freedom and power and transcendence. But not all flying dreams feel good. Some people find them anxious. They're flying, but they're afraid of falling, afraid they'll lose control, afraid the flying will stop suddenly and they'll crash. So the dream is simultaneously liberating and threatening. Freedom mixed with fear, transcendence mixed with vulnerability. This might represent ambivalence about freedom, about rising above, about transcending limitations. Part of you wants it, part of you fears it, part of you thinks if you go too high, you'll fall too far, or the effort of flying is exhausting. You're flying, but it's hard work. You're getting tired. You're not sure you can keep going. You might have to land. But landing might mean giving up, falling back into limitation, losing the freedom you achieved. So you push yourself, keep flying. But it costs. This might represent the cost of freedom, the effort required to maintain transcendence, to stay above your problems, to keep rising. It's possible, but it's not easy. It's not free. It requires continuous effort, and you're not sure how long you can sustain it. The landscape below matters too. What are you flying over? Sometimes it's beautiful. Mountains, oceans, forests. The world looks amazing from above. This enhances the joy of flying. You're not just free, you're also seeing beauty, experiencing wonder. The flying gives you access to perspectives you couldn't have otherwise. Other times, the landscape is threatening, dark, empty, dangerous. You're flying, but what's below is scary. This might represent that you're avoiding something, rising above to escape. The freedom is real, but it's motivated by fear, by desire to get away from what's below rather than desire to explore what's above. Sometimes in flying dreams, you're not alone. Others are flying too. This might represent shared freedom, shared transcendence. You're not the only one who can do this. Others have achieved this too, and you're flying together, moving through the air together. This can feel wonderful. Connection plus freedom. You don't have to choose between rising above and being with others. You can have both, or it might feel competitive. Who can fly faster? Higher? Better? The freedom becomes a contest, a way of establishing superiority. Flying dreams sometimes involve flying to somewhere specific. You're not just flying for the joy of flying. You're trying to get somewhere, to reach something, to escape something. The flying is instrumental, a means to an end. This might represent that transcendence isn't the goal. Freedom isn't the goal. They're tools, ways of achieving something else, ways of getting where you need to go. The flying is useful, But it's not the point. The point is the destination. Other times there's no destination. You're just flying, moving through space for the sake of movement, for the feeling of it, for the freedom of it. This might represent freedom as an end in itself, not freedom to do something, not freedom from something, just freedom, pure and simple, the experience of being unbound, of moving without constraint, of being what you are without limitation. When you wake from a flying dream, there's often a moment of loss. You were flying, and now you can't. You're back in a body that's earthbound, that can't float or soar, that's subject to gravity. For a moment, this feels limiting, disappointing. You had something and now it's gone. But the memory lingers, the feeling of flying, the sense of freedom. And sometimes this stays with you, colors your day, reminds you that limitation isn't absolute, that transcendence is possible, that you can rise above. Maybe not literally, not physically, but psychologically, spiritually, imaginatively. The dream showed you this, and the memory of the dream can help you access it while awake. Falling dreams usually happen as you're falling asleep. That sensation of suddenly dropping and jerking awake. This is a hypnic jerk. Your muscles relax as you fall asleep. Your brain misinterprets this relaxation as falling and jolts you awake. It's not really a dream. It's a physiological response, but it feels like a dream, like you were falling and caught yourself just in time. The hypnic jerk is strange because it's your brain making a mistake, misinterpreting sensory information. As you fall asleep, your muscles relax. This is normal, necessary, your body preparing for sleep. But your brain, still partially awake, notices this sudden relaxation, and it interprets it as loss of balance, as falling. This triggers a panic response, a jolt. Your body tries to catch itself, tries to prevent the fall. Your muscles contract suddenly. You jerk awake. Your heart might be racing. You might feel a rush of adrenaline because your body thought you were in danger, thought you were falling. This happens to almost everyone occasionally. It's most common when you're overtired, when you fall asleep too quickly. Your brain doesn't have time to transition smoothly from waking to sleeping. So there's a moment of confusion, of misinterpretation, and you jerk awake. Usually this happens only once per night. You fall back asleep more gradually the second time, and it doesn't happen again. But sometimes the hypnic jerk does trigger a dream. You're falling asleep. You experience the jerk, but instead of fully waking, you slip into a dream. And in the dream, you're falling. You're dropping through space, through darkness, through emptiness. There's nothing to catch you, nothing to stop you, just the sensation of falling and the fear that comes with it, the certainty that you're going to hit, going to crash, going to die, and then you wake, usually before you hit. The dream ends just before impact. You wake with your heart pounding, with the sensation of falling still vivid, still physical. For a moment, you're disoriented. You're in bed, safe. But you feel like you just fell from a great height. Your body is still reacting to the dream, to the perceived danger. It takes a moment to calm down, to realize you're okay, that you weren't actually falling, that it was just a dream, just a misinterpretation, just a mistake. Falling dreams outside of the hypnic jerk context are less common but still happen. These are dreams where you're somewhere high, on a cliff, on a building, on a mountain, and you fall, or jump, or slip. You're falling through air, through space, and you know you're going to hit. You know impact is coming. The fall seems to last forever. Time stretches. You feel the fear, the helplessness, the certainty of harm. Sometimes these falling dreams represent loss of control. In waking life, you feel like things are slipping, like you're losing your grip, like circumstances are beyond your control. The falling dream gives physical form to that feeling. You're literally losing control, literally slipping, literally unable to stop what's happening. The dream is showing you what you're feeling emotionally, giving you an image for it, making it concrete. Other times, falling dreams represent fear of failure. You've risen to some height, achieved something, gained some position, and now you're afraid of falling. Afraid you'll lose it, afraid you can't maintain it. The height represents your achievement, the fall represents your fear of losing it, of being exposed as inadequate, of crashing back down to where you started or lower. These dreams are common during times of stress, when you're being tested, when you're worried about whether you measure up. Rarely, falling dreams represent surrender, letting go, giving up control. Instead of fighting the fall, you accept it. You relax into it. You let yourself drop. And the fear dissolves. The fall becomes peaceful, free. You're falling, but it's okay. It's not dangerous. It's just movement, just experience. This kind of falling dream might represent psychological surrender, acceptance, letting go of the need to control everything, trusting that it's okay to fall, that you'll be okay. That surrender isn't death, it's release. This is a profound shift because falling normally triggers panic. It's primal, hardwired. You fall, you're in danger. Your body knows this. Your brain knows this. The response is automatic: fear, tension, grasping, trying to catch yourself, trying to stop the fall. This is survival instinct. This is what keeps you alive when actual falling happens. You don't think about it, you react. You try to save yourself. But in these rare falling dreams, something different happens. You're falling, and instead of panicking, you let go. You stop fighting. You relax into the sensation. And the moment you do, everything changes. The fear disappears. The fall becomes something else entirely. Not dangerous, not threatening. Just movement, just the sensation of air rushing past, of your body moving through space. It becomes almost pleasant, peaceful, free. This might happen because you realize you're dreaming. You become lucid. You know it's a dream. You know you're not in actual danger, so you can relax. You can experience the fall without fear because you know it's not real. The danger isn't real. You can surrender to the experience. Let yourself feel what falling feels like without the terror that usually accompanies it. And what you discover is that falling itself, divorced from fear, is just sensation, just movement, not inherently bad, not inherently threatening, just experience. Or it might happen without lucidity. You're in the dream. You don't know you're dreaming. But something in you decides to stop fighting, to accept what's happening, to surrender. Maybe you're exhausted from fighting. Maybe you've given up. Maybe you've decided that whatever happens, happens. And in that moment of surrender, the fear releases, the tension releases, and you're just falling, just experiencing. And it's okay. This kind of dream can be deeply healing because it teaches surrender. It teaches that letting go of control doesn't mean destruction. It shows you that acceptance is possible, that you can stop fighting and still be okay. That surrender isn't the same as giving up. It's a different relationship with what's happening. Not resistance, not control, just allowing, just experiencing, just being with what is. In waking life, this lesson is valuable because so much suffering comes from resistance, from fighting what is, from trying to control things that can't be controlled. You resist your feelings. You fight your circumstances. You try to force outcomes. And this creates tension, creates exhaustion, creates suffering. But what if you could let go? What if you could surrender? Not give up on what matters, not become passive, but stop fighting reality. Stop resisting what is. Accept it. Work with it. Flow with it rather than against it. The falling dream that becomes peaceful shows you this is possible. In the dream, you let go and you're okay. You surrender and you're not destroyed. The fall continues, but it's no longer terrifying. It's just what's happening. And you're experiencing it fully without resistance. This is a taste of acceptance, of surrender, of what becomes possible when you stop fighting. Some spiritual traditions talk about surrender as essential, letting go of ego control, trusting in something larger, God or universe or life or process. Trusting that you don't have to manage everything, that you can let go and you'll be held, that surrender is safe, that it's actually where peace lives. The falling dream is a visceral experience of this. Your body falling, your mind letting go, and discovering that it's okay, that you're okay. That surrender doesn't mean annihilation. It means release. Most people wake before hitting. The dream ends before impact. There's a myth that if you hit the ground in a falling dream, you die in real life. This isn't true. It's impossible. Because you can't know if someone died in their sleep because of a dream. Dead people don't report their dreams. The myth persists because most falling dreams do end before impact. Not because impact would kill you, but because the fear of impact wakes you. Your body's panic response kicks in. Adrenaline spikes, and you wake. The dream can't continue because you're no longer asleep. This myth is interesting because it reveals something about how we think about dreams. We give them power. We imagine they can affect reality in ways they can't. We think that what happens in dreams can hurt us, can kill us. This shows how real dreams feel, how powerful. If dreams weren't vivid and compelling, we wouldn't worry that they could harm us. But they are vivid. They do feel real. So we imagine they might have real consequences. The logic of the myth doesn't hold up. If hitting the ground in a falling dream killed you, we'd have evidence. Lots of people would have died in their sleep with no medical explanation, but this doesn't happen. People die in their sleep for medical reasons. Heart attacks, strokes, sleep apnea. Not because of dreams. Dreams are mental events. They don't have physical power. They can't stop your heart or damage your brain or kill you. But the myth persists anyway. Maybe because it's dramatic. It makes dreams seem important, dangerous, powerful. Maybe because it's a good story, a cautionary tale. Don't let yourself hit the ground. Wake up before impact. Stay in control. Or maybe because most people do wake before hitting, and they assume there must be a reason. They don't realize it's just because the fear woke them. They think maybe hitting would have been dangerous. Maybe the myth is true, even though it can't be. The truth is simpler and less dramatic. Falling dreams usually end before impact because the anticipation of impact triggers a fear response. Your body thinks you're in danger, it releases adrenaline, your heart rate increases, your breathing changes. And these physical changes are strong enough to wake you, to pull you out of sleep. The dream doesn't get to complete because your body has pulled you back to waking consciousness. This is protective, adaptive. Your body is trying to save you from perceived danger. It doesn't know the danger is just a dream. But this protective response isn't perfect. It doesn't always kick in. Sometimes the fear isn't strong enough to wake you, or you're in such deep sleep that the physical response isn't enough to pull you out, or you've become somewhat lucid and the fear has reduced because you know it's a dream. In these cases, the dream continues. You fall, you hit, and the dream doesn't end. But some people do dream they hit. They fall, they hit the ground, and the dream continues. Sometimes they die in the dream, and then the dream continues after death. They're observing from outside their body, or they're in some afterlife space, or they respawn somehow. The dream finds a way to continue despite death. Other times they hit and feel the impact, but they're not hurt, or not seriously hurt. They get up and the dream continues. The fall wasn't fatal, it was just an event within the dream narrative. When you hit the ground in a falling dream and the dream continues, it's often surprising. You expected the dream to end, or you expected to wake, but neither happens. You hit, and you're still dreaming. This can be disorienting. You thought impact would be the conclusion, the ending. But it's not. It's just another event, just another moment in the dream. And now the dream has to figure out what happens next. Sometimes what happens next is death. You hit and you die. But death in dreams isn't like death in waking life. It's not final. It's not the end of consciousness because you're still dreaming. Your consciousness continues. So the dream has to construct what death means, what happens after. And different dreams handle this differently. Some dreams show you observing from outside your body. You're floating above the scene, looking down at your body, dead on the ground, and you're still you, still conscious, still seeing and experiencing, but from a different perspective, from outside. This is an out-of-body experience, a common feature of near-death experiences that people report in waking life. The dream is drawing on that cultural knowledge, that imagery, and constructing a post-death experience. From this outside perspective, you might feel peaceful, calm. The fear is gone. The danger is over. You're dead, but it's okay. You're still here, still aware. Death wasn't the end. This can feel profound, meaningful, like you've discovered something important about death. That consciousness continues, that death isn't annihilation, though really it's just your dreaming mind constructing a narrative, creating a story about what death might be like, based on cultural stories, on things you've heard or read, on imagination. Other dreams show you in some kind of afterlife space. You die, and then you're somewhere else. A place you don't recognize, maybe peaceful, maybe strange, maybe populated with other people or beings, maybe empty. This is the dream constructing a vision of what comes after, drawing on religious imagery, cultural beliefs, personal imagination. The afterlife space might be beautiful, filled with light, welcoming. Or it might be neutral, just a different place, a different realm. Or it might be unsettling, strange, not what you expected. Sometimes the dream simply restarts. You die and then you're back, alive again, starting over. This is like a video game. You die and you respawn. You get another try. The dream hasn't ended. It's just reset. This might happen because your dreaming mind isn't done with the narrative. There's more to explore, more to experience. Death was just a setback, not an ending. So you come back and continue. Or you hit and you don't die. The impact happens. You feel it. There's the sensation of hitting, the shock of it. But when you check yourself, you're okay. You're not hurt, or not badly hurt. Maybe you're bruised, maybe you're shaken, but you're alive. You're intact. You get up, you dust yourself off, and the dream continues. The fall was just something that happened. Not the climax, not the end, just an event. This can feel surprising. You expected to be hurt, to be broken. The fall was from a great height. The impact should have been devastating, but it wasn't. You're fine. This defies physics, defies logic. But dreams don't follow physics. They don't follow logic. In dreams, you can survive things that would kill you in waking life. Your dream body is more resilient than your actual body, more flexible, more capable of withstanding damage. Hitting the ground and surviving might represent resilience, durability. The fear was that you'd be destroyed by the fall, but you weren't. You survived. You're okay. This might show you that your fears are overblown, that the failure or loss or disaster you're afraid of wouldn't actually destroy you. You'd survive it. You'd get up. You'd continue. The dream is giving you evidence of your resilience, showing you that you're stronger than you think. This is a powerful message because often we overestimate danger. We imagine catastrophe. We think if this happens, we'll be destroyed. We won't survive. We won't be able to go on, but the falling dream that ends in survival shows you otherwise. You can withstand impact. You can survive the fall. You can hit bottom and still be okay. This is reassurance, evidence, not logical evidence, not proof, but experiential evidence. Your dreaming self survived, and maybe that means your waking self can survive too. The dream is showing you something about your capacity to endure, to survive difficulty, to get back up after falling. This might be especially relevant if you're going through something hard in waking life. If you're facing a challenge, a loss, a failure, a fear, the falling dream that ends in survival is your unconscious telling you that you can handle it, that you're tougher than you think. That impact isn't death, that hitting bottom isn't the end. Sometimes after surviving the fall, the dream shows you dealing with the aftermath. You're hurt, but you're getting help. People are tending to you. You're recovering. Or you're hurt, but you're pushing through, continuing despite the pain. This extends the message. Not only can you survive, you can recover. You can heal. You can continue functioning even when damaged. This is resilience in action. Not just surviving the initial impact, but handling what comes after. Other times, the dream shows you completely fine after the fall. No injury, no pain, no consequence. You fell from a great height and hit hard, but it had no effect. You're invulnerable. This is wish fulfillment, fantasy. The dream is giving you invincibility, showing you what it would feel like to be indestructible, to not be vulnerable, to not have to fear consequences. This can feel powerful, liberating, even though you know it's not real, even though you know your actual body is fragile. For the duration of the dream, you're not fragile. You're strong, unbreakable, capable of withstanding anything. This fantasy can serve a purpose. It can give you a feeling of strength that carries over into waking. You wake, remembering that you survived. That impact didn't hurt you. And even though you know it was just a dream, the feeling lingers, the sense of strength, of durability, of being able to handle what comes. This isn't logical. Dreams aren't training. Dream survival doesn't make you actually stronger, but psychologically, it can help. It can shift your self-perception, reduce your fear, increase your confidence. Because you've experienced, even in dream form, surviving what you feared. Falling dreams can transition into flying dreams. You're falling, but then you realize you can control it. You spread your arms and start to glide. Or you slow the fall. Or you stop falling and start rising. The dream shifts from nightmare to liberation, from fear to freedom. This might represent a shift in perspective. What seemed like disaster becomes opportunity. What seemed like loss of control becomes freedom. The same experience reframed, and everything changes. This transition is remarkable when it happens. You're falling, you're afraid. The ground is rushing up, and then something shifts. You realize you don't have to just fall. You can do something. You spread your arms and they catch the air. Suddenly, you're not falling, you're gliding. The descent slows, becomes controlled, becomes pleasant. You're moving through the air, but now you're steering. Now you're choosing. Now you're flying. Or you don't just slow the fall. You stop it. You hover in midair, suspended, and then you start rising, moving upward instead of downward. The direction reverses. What was falling becomes flying. What was descent becomes ascent. The terror transforms into joy, into liberation, into the exhilaration of flight. The nightmare becomes a good dream, the best kind of dream. This transformation might be triggered by lucidity. You're falling, and you realize you're dreaming. And once you realize you're dreaming, you know you can control it. You know the fall isn't real. The danger isn't real. You have power here. You can change what's happening. So you decide to fly instead of fall. You make the choice. And the dream responds. Your arms become wings. Your body becomes lighter. You're flying because you decided to fly, because you took control, or the transformation happens without lucidity. You're in the dream, fully immersed, not aware it's a dream, but instinct kicks in. Some deep part of you knows what to do. You spread your arms and they work. They catch air, they lift you. You don't question it. You don't wonder how it's possible. You just do it, and it works. The dream permits it. The dream physics allow it. Falling becomes flying without conscious decision. Just intuitive response. Just your dreaming self discovering it can fly. This shift from falling to flying is a powerful metaphor. It represents transformation, the transformation of crisis into opportunity, of fear into freedom, of powerlessness into power. What seemed like disaster, what seemed like loss of control, becomes the opposite, becomes liberation. The same experience, the same sensation of moving through air goes from terrifying to joyful. Nothing physical changed. The change is in your relationship to it, in your perception, in your response. In waking life, this kind of transformation is possible too. Not literally flying, but the psychological equivalent. Taking a situation that feels like falling, like losing control, like disaster, and reframing it, seeing it differently, finding the opportunity in it, finding the freedom in it. This isn't always possible. Sometimes disaster is just disaster. Sometimes loss is just loss. But sometimes, more often than we think, the situation is ambiguous. Could be catastrophe or could be opportunity, depending on how you see it, depending on how you respond. The falling to flying dream shows you this possibility, shows you that the same experience can be two completely different things, that your perception matters, your response matters, what you do with what's happening matters. You're falling. That's the situation. But you don't have to passively fall. You can engage. You can act. You can transform the experience. You can fly. This might represent a shift in waking life. You've been afraid. You've been feeling out of control. You've been feeling like you're falling. But then something changes. You realize you have more agency than you thought, more power, more choice. The situation hasn't changed, but your relationship to it has. And suddenly, what seemed like falling starts to feel like flying. What seemed like disaster starts to feel like adventure. The fear transforms into excitement, into possibility. Or the dream might be anticipating this shift, showing you what's possible, preparing you. You're not there yet in waking life. You're still afraid, still feeling like you're falling. But the dream is showing you that transformation is possible, that falling can become flying, that you have the capacity to make this shift. When you're ready, when the moment comes, the dream is planting a seed, showing you a possibility, giving you a vision of what could be. When you wake from a falling dream that became a flying dream, the feeling is complex: relief, joy, empowerment. You were afraid and then you weren't. You were powerless and then you weren't. The dream took you through a transformation, through an emotional journey, from fear to freedom, from descent to ascent. And even though it was just a dream, the journey was real. The emotions were real. The shift was real. And that reality can influence your waking state. You wake remembering that you can fly, that you have that capacity, at least in dreams. And while you know you can't literally fly while awake, the metaphor sticks, the feeling sticks, the sense that transformation is possible, that falling doesn't have to stay falling, that you don't have to be helpless, that you can engage, can act, can change your relationship to what's happening. The dream gave you an experience of empowerment, and experiences, even dream experiences, shape us, change us, open possibilities. So the falling dream that becomes a flying dream isn't just entertainment, isn't just random neural activity. It's a journey, a psychological process, your dreaming mind taking you through fear and showing you how to transform it, showing you that freedom is possible, that power is possible, that what seems like disaster might actually be opportunity if you can change your perspective, if you can respond instead of just react. If you can spread your arms and discover you can fly, this is the gift of dreams. They show you things you might not realize while awake. They give you experiences you can't have in waking life. They let you practice, let you transform, let you discover capacities you didn't know you had. The falling dream that becomes a flying dream is one of the most powerful examples of this. It takes you from fear to freedom, from powerlessness to power, from falling to flying. And in doing so, it shows you something essential, something true, something you can carry with you when you wake. The knowledge that transformation is possible, that you have more power than you think, that falling isn't the end. It might just be the beginning of flight. Chase dreams are among the most common. Something pursuing you. You're running but can't run fast enough. You try to scream, but no sound comes. You try to punch, but your arms move in slow motion. This frustration is part of the dream. Your body is paralyzed during REM sleep, so you don't act out dreams. Your brain incorporates this paralysis into the dream as slowness, weakness, inability to act. Being naked in public is another common dream. You're at school or work or some social situation and realize you're not wearing clothes. You feel embarrassed, vulnerable. This often represents anxiety about being exposed, being seen as you really are, fear of judgment. But the interesting thing about these common dreams is they're not universal. They're culture specific. They appear in cultures where nudity is taboo. In cultures with different values, the anxious dreams have different content. Teeth falling out is a classic dream, unsettling, and surprisingly common. Interpretations vary. Some say it represents powerlessness, inability to speak or defend yourself. Some say it's about aging, loss of vitality. Some say it's anxiety about appearance. Or it might just be that teeth are important and dreaming about losing them is like dreaming about losing anything important. The specific symbol is less important than the emotion. What does it make you feel? That's what matters. Being unprepared for an exam or performance is common even years after school. You're supposed to take a test, but you didn't study. Or you're supposed to be in a play, but you don't know your lines, or you show up somewhere important and realize you forgot something crucial. These dreams express general anxiety. The specific situation is just how your brain chooses to symbolize the feeling of being unprepared or inadequate. Dreams where you can't move, can't speak, can't act are frustrating. You're trying to do something, but your body won't cooperate. This comes from the paralysis of REM sleep. Your brain sends signals to move, but your body doesn't respond because it's temporarily paralyzed. Your dreaming mind incorporates this into the narrative. You can't move because something is restraining you, or you're stuck in molasses, or your limbs are too heavy. The physical reality of sleep becomes dream content. Recurring dreams often point to recurring concerns. The same dream or same theme appearing again and again. Your unconscious working on something, trying to process it, trying to get your attention. If you can identify what the dream is about, what it's trying to work through, sometimes that's enough to resolve it. The dream stops recurring once the issue is addressed consciously. Some people rarely remember dreams. Others remember them vividly and frequently. This isn't about how much you dream. Everyone dreams roughly the same amount. It's about memory, about how much attention you pay to dreams, about how you wake, about personality differences. But if you want to remember dreams, you can train yourself. Keep a journal. Set intention before sleep. Wake naturally when possible rather than with an alarm. All of this helps with dream recall. There's something called REM rebound. If you're deprived of EM sleep, your brain compensates by increasing REM on subsequent nights. You dream more intensely, more vividly. The brain needs to dream. If prevented, it will make up for lost time. This suggests dreaming is necessary, not optional, something the brain must do regularly to function properly. Dreams might be involved in unlearning too, not just consolidating memories, but weakening ones that aren't important. During dreams, your brain reviews connections. Strong, important ones get strengthened. Weak, irrelevant ones get pruned. This prevents overload. You can't remember everything. Dreams might be part of how the brain decides what to keep and what to forget. The emotional tone of dreams often reflects your mental state. If you're depressed, your dreams tend to be more negative, more themes of loss, helplessness, darkness. If you're anxious, more threat and pursuit. If you're content, more pleasant, neutral dreams. Dreams are emotional weather. They reflect the climate of your inner world, but dreams can also compensate. If you're repressing anger, you might dream about conflict and aggression. If you're overly rational and controlled, you might dream about chaos and wildness. Jung believed dreams often present what you're missing, what you need to balance, the shadow side, the parts of yourself you don't acknowledge while awake. This idea of compensation is central to Jung's approach to dreams. He believed the psyche is always seeking balance, always trying to become whole. But we don't live in balance. We emphasize some parts of ourselves and neglect others. We develop some capacities and ignore others. We accept some feelings and repress others. This creates imbalance, one-sidedness. And the unconscious notices this. It knows what's missing, what's being neglected, what's out of balance. So dreams compensate. They present the other side. The missing piece, the neglected aspect. If you're too controlled in waking life, too rigid, too rational, your dreams will be wild, chaotic, emotional, full of things that don't make logical sense, full of impulses and desires and irrationality. The dream is showing you what you're not allowing while awake, what you're keeping out of conscious life. And by showing you, it's trying to bring you back toward balance, trying to remind you that you're not just rationality, you're also emotion, impulse, chaos. Denise, if you're repressing anger, if you're being too nice, too accommodating, too passive, your dreams will be aggressive. You'll dream about fighting, about conflict, about expressing anger. Maybe you're yelling at someone. Maybe you're hitting someone. Maybe you're in a war. The content varies, but the theme is consistent. Aggression, anger, conflict. The dream is expressing what you won't express while awake. It's giving outlet to the anger you're holding in. And it's showing you that the anger exists, that it's part of you, that pretending it doesn't exist doesn't make it go away. It just forces it into the shadows, into dreams. This doesn't mean you should go around being aggressive. The dream isn't telling you to act out the anger, it's telling you to acknowledge it, to know it's there, to find healthy ways to express it or work with it. because repressing it doesn't solve anything. Repressed anger doesn't disappear. It builds, it leaks out in passive aggressive behavior. It turns inward into depression. It creates tension in your body. It poisons relationships. Better to acknowledge it consciously, to feel it, to understand it, to express it appropriately. The dream is trying to help you do this by showing you what you're repressing. The same principle applies to any repressed or neglected aspect of yourself. If you're too serious, your dreams will be playful. If you're too independent, your dreams will show you needing others. If you're too giving, your dreams will show you taking. If you're too masculine, your dreams will be feminine. If you're too feminine, your dreams will be masculine. The psyche is always trying to balance, to include what's been excluded, to integrate what's been split off. Jung called these neglected parts the shadow, not because they're evil or bad, but because they're in the dark, out of conscious awareness. You don't see them, don't acknowledge them, but they exist. They're part of you, and they influence you whether you're aware of them or not. Better to bring them into consciousness, to see them, to integrate them. Because unintegrated shadow material acts autonomously. It controls you from below awareness, makes you do things you don't understand, react in ways that surprise you. The dream that shows you your shadow is giving you a chance to see it, to know it, to make it conscious. This is uncomfortable work because the shadow contains things you don't like about yourself, things you've rejected, things you don't want to be, but rejecting them doesn't make them go away. It just makes them unconscious. And unconscious, they're more dangerous, more powerful, because you can't see them, can't control them, can't work with them. Conscious, they're just aspects of yourself, parts you can choose to express or not, ways you can be or not be. You have choice. But unconscious, they act on their own, sabotage you, undermine you, create problems you don't understand. So when you dream about something you don't like, something that disturbs you, something you'd rather not see, pay attention. The dream might be showing you your shadow, showing you a part of yourself you've been denying, and seeing it, acknowledging it, is the first step toward integration, toward wholeness, toward being able to work with all of yourself instead of just the parts you find acceptable. Dreams don't predict the future, but they might reveal the present. Things you know unconsciously but haven't admitted consciously. Relationship problems you've been ignoring. Desires you haven't acknowledged. Fears you've been suppressing. Dreams can bring these to awareness through symbols and scenarios. They show you what you already know, but haven't let yourself know. This is another important function of dreams. They reveal what's already there, but hidden. You have knowledge below awareness. Things you've noticed but haven't consciously processed. Feelings you've had but haven't acknowledged. Concerns you've been avoiding. Your unconscious knows all of this. It's paying attention even when your conscious mind isn't. And dreams are one way this unconscious knowledge surfaces. You might dream your partner is having an affair. This doesn't mean they are. Dreams aren't literal. But it might mean you've noticed something, some distance, some secretiveness, some change in behavior. You've picked up cues unconsciously, and the dream is showing you what those cues suggest. Not that there's definitely an affair, but that something is wrong. Something has changed. The relationship has a problem. The dream is bringing this unconscious knowledge to consciousness, showing you what you know but haven't wanted to admit. Or you dream about losing your job, and then the next week, you get fired. The dream didn't predict the future. It revealed the present. You knew the job was in trouble. You'd noticed signs, budget cuts, tension with your boss, projects being canceled. Your unconscious was tracking all of this, putting the pieces together. And it knew before you consciously knew that the job was at risk. The dream showed you this, gave you warning, not supernatural warning, just your own knowledge surfacing. This happens with health too. People sometimes dream about illness before they're diagnosed. The dream shows them something wrong with their body, a tumor, a pain, an injury, and then they go to the doctor and discover it's real. The dream didn't magically know. The body knew. The body was sending signals, subtle symptoms, changes, discomfort, too subtle for conscious awareness. But the unconscious noticed, and the dream brought it to awareness, translated body knowledge into dream imagery. This is why paying attention to dreams can be valuable, not because they're mystical or prophetic, but because they sometimes reveal what you already know, what you've noticed but ignored, what you've felt but denied, what you sense but haven't articulated. Dreams can give form to vague feelings, can make explicit what was implicit, can show you clearly what you knew dimly. But this requires interpretation. Dreams speak in symbols, in metaphors, in images. They don't just say, your relationship has a problem. They show you a scenario. And you have to figure out what the scenario means, what it's pointing to, what real life situation it's reflecting. This isn't always obvious. Sometimes dreams are opaque, confusing, open to multiple interpretations. But often, if you sit with a dream, if you think about it, if you pay attention to how it makes you feel, clarity comes. You realize what it's about, what it's showing you, what you already knew but hadn't let yourself know. This is different from dream dictionaries that claim universal meanings, that say if you dream about water, it means emotion. If you dream about a house, it means the self. These can be useful starting points. But meaning is personal. What water means to you depends on your relationship with water, your experiences, your associations. Same with houses, same with any symbol. The dream is yours. The meaning is yours. You have to find it. You have to feel your way into what the dream is saying. Often, the emotional tone is the key. How did the dream make you feel? Anxious, sad, angry, excited? That emotion is real. Even if the dream content is strange or impossible, the emotion is genuine, and it's pointing to something in your waking life, something that evokes the same emotion. The dream is giving you the emotion and wrapping it in a story. Strip away the story, and you're left with the feeling. And that feeling connects to something real, something in your actual life, something you're dealing with or avoiding or worried about. So when you have a dream that sticks with you, that feels significant, sit with it. Don't immediately look up what it means in a book. Sit with the feeling. Think about what in your life evokes that feeling. What situation, what relationship, what concern? Let the dream reveal what it's revealing. Let it show you what you already know, but haven't consciously acknowledged. This is the dream doing its work. bringing unconscious knowledge to consciousness, helping you see what you haven't been seeing. Some dreams feel sacred, numinous, like you've touched something beyond yourself. These big dreams, as Jung called them, feel different from regular dreams, more vivid, more meaningful, charged with significance. They stay with you. You remember them for years. They feel like messages or revelations. Maybe they're just particularly vivid dreams. Or maybe they're moments when the unconscious breaks through with something important. Either way, the experience is powerful. These big dreams are rare. Most dreams are ordinary, fragments, mundane scenarios processing the day, working through minor concerns. But occasionally, a dream comes that feels different, feels special, feels important. The imagery is more vivid, the colors more intense, the emotions more powerful, the sense of meaning more profound. You wake from these dreams feeling changed, feeling like you've experienced something significant, like you've been somewhere, learned something, received something. Jung distinguished between little dreams and big dreams. Little dreams are personal. They deal with your daily concerns, your relationships, your problems, your fears and desires. They're important, but they're ordinary. They're the mind processing personal material. Big dreams are different. They feel transpersonal, archetypal, like they're not just about you, but about something larger, something universal. They contain symbols that appear across cultures, across time. They feel like they're tapping into collective human experience, into something shared and ancient and deep. A big dream might involve archetypal figures: the wise old man, the great mother, the hero, the trickster, the divine child. These figures appear in myths and stories across all cultures. They're not specific to your personal life, they're universal patterns. When they appear in dreams, they carry weight. They feel significant, like you're encountering something primal, something that speaks to human experience across all times and places. Or a big dream might involve cosmic imagery, the universe, stars, planets, creation, destruction, death, and rebirth, themes that are larger than personal life, that point to existence itself, to life and death, to meaning and purpose, to the big questions. These dreams feel philosophical, spiritual, like they're addressing ultimate concerns. Not just what should I do about this relationship or that job, but what does it all mean? Why am I here? What is life about? Or a big dream might involve an encounter with the divine. However you understand divinity, God, goddess, spirit, light, love, presence. You meet something in the dream that feels holy, sacred, numinous, something that fills you with awe, or terror, or love, or peace, something that's clearly beyond you, beyond ego, beyond personal, something transcendent. And the encounter changes you, marks you. You can't forget it. Years later, you still remember, still feel moved by it. These big dreams often come at transition points, times of crisis, times of change. When you're facing something difficult, when you're questioning everything, when your old life is ending and a new life hasn't yet begun. In these liminal times, the unconscious sometimes speaks more loudly, sends bigger messages, shows you bigger visions, trying to help you through the transition, trying to give you what you need to navigate the unknown. Jung believed big dreams were messages from the collective unconscious, the deep layer of psyche that all humans share, the layer that contains the archetypes, the universal patterns and images. When you dream a big dream, you're accessing this layer. You're touching something that's not just personal, but shared, something that connects you to all humanity, to all who have lived and dreamed before you. This is why big dreams feel so powerful, so meaningful. They're not just your unconscious speaking, they're the collective unconscious, the wisdom of the species speaking through you, to you. Whether you believe this literally or take it metaphorically, the experience is real. Big dreams feel different, feel important, and they often do carry important messages, not predictions, not literal instructions, but perspectives, insights, images that help you see differently, that help you understand, that help you find meaning, that help you navigate whatever you're facing. When you have a big dream, honor it. Write it down in detail. Sit with it. Think about it. Talk about it. Paint it. Let it work on you. Don't rush to interpret it. Don't force meaning. Let the dream reveal itself over time. Big dreams are like seeds. They need time to germinate, to grow, to show you what they contain. You plant them in consciousness and then you wait. You tend them. You return to them. And gradually, sometimes over years, they reveal their meaning. They show you what they were trying to tell you. Many spiritual traditions value dreams. Vision quests involve fasting and isolation to induce significant dreams. Dream yoga in Tibetan Buddhism involves becoming lucid in dreams and using the dream state for spiritual practice. Indigenous cultures often have dream ceremonies. Dreams are seen as ways to access wisdom, to communicate with ancestors or spirits, to receive guidance. Modern Western culture is unusual in dismissing dreams so thoroughly. Across most of human history, across most cultures, dreams have been taken seriously, treated as important, given attention and respect. Shamans and priests and elders interpreted dreams. Important decisions were sometimes based on dreams. Leaders would fast and pray for significant dreams to guide them. Dreams were seen as a way the divine communicated with humans, a way wisdom entered the world, a way to access knowledge that wasn't available through ordinary means. In many indigenous cultures, dreams are shared communally. People tell their dreams to the group. Elders help interpret them. The dreams are treated as belonging not just to the individual but to the community. They might contain messages or warnings or guidance relevant to everyone. This communal approach to dreams creates a culture where dreaming is valued, where people pay attention to their dreams, where dreams inform waking life, where the boundary between dreaming and waking is more fluid. Some Native American traditions involve vision quests. A young person, often at the transition to adulthood, goes alone into the wilderness. They fast, they pray, they seek a vision, a dream, a message from the spirits. They stay out for days, enduring hardship, cold, hunger, loneliness, and in that extreme state, dreams come. Powerful dreams, visions, encounters with animal spirits or ancestors or divine beings. And these dreams shape the person's identity, give them their name, their purpose, their path. The dream becomes the foundation of their adult life. Dream yoga in Tibetan Buddhism is a practice of becoming conscious in dreams, Achieving lucidity. Once lucid, the practitioner uses the dream state for spiritual development. They practice meditation in dreams. They encounter teachers. They work with the nature of mind. They recognize that if they can be conscious in dreams, they can be conscious in waking life. And if they can recognize the dreamlike nature of dreams, they can recognize the dreamlike nature of waking reality. The practice blurs the boundary between dreaming and waking, shows that both are constructions, both are experiences arising in consciousness. The goal of dream yoga isn't just lucid dreaming for fun. It's using the dream state as a training ground for awareness, for consciousness, for recognizing the nature of mind. Dreams are easier to work with than waking reality because they're obviously constructed, obviously unstable, obviously products of mind. So they're a good place to practice seeing through appearances, seeing that all experience is mind created. And this recognition, developed in dreams, transfers to waking. You start to see waking reality with the same clarity, with the same understanding that it too is constructed, is experience, is arising in consciousness. In these traditions, dreams aren't dismissed as meaningless. They're not treated as noise or garbage or random firing. They're treated as valuable, as meaningful, as sources of wisdom and guidance and spiritual development. Modern Western culture is unusual in how thoroughly it dismisses dreams, in how it treats them as nothing, as waste, as the brain taking out the trash. This is a recent development, a product of materialism, of the scientific worldview that only the measurable is real, that only the physical matters, that consciousness is just brain activity and dreams are just noise. But this dismissive attitude is changing, even within science. There's growing recognition that dreams serve important functions, that they're not just noise, that they do things, process emotions, consolidate memory, solve problems, prepare for threats. Science is catching up to what humans have known for millennia, that dreams matter, that they're part of being human, that they deserve attention. There's wisdom in taking dreams seriously without taking them literally. They're not direct messages, they're not predictions, but they're also not meaningless noise. They're your mind working, processing, exploring, creating. And sometimes what emerges has value. Insights, perspectives, images that stick with you and mean something. You don't have to believe dreams are mystical to find them interesting, to pay attention to them, to be curious about what your sleeping mind creates. This middle path is useful. You don't have to believe dreams are messages from gods or spirits. You don't have to believe they predict the future or reveal absolute truths. You can understand them as psychological processes, as the brain doing its work, as the unconscious communicating with consciousness, and still find them valuable, still pay attention to them, still learn from them. Because even understood psychologically, dreams are fascinating. They show you how your mind works, what you're concerned about, what you're processing, what you're avoiding, what you're longing for. They give you insight into yourself, into your emotional life, into your unconscious patterns and beliefs. They're like a nightly report from your inner world, not always clear, not always easy to interpret, but informative, revealing. And sometimes, dreams do offer insights you couldn't access otherwise, solutions to problems you've been stuck on, perspectives you hadn't considered, connections you hadn't seen. This doesn't require mysticism. It just requires recognizing that your unconscious is smart, that it's working on things even when you're not aware, that it has access to information and patterns that consciousness doesn't. And dreams are one way that unconscious intelligence communicates with conscious awareness. So keep a dream journal. Write down your dreams when you wake. Even if they seem meaningless, even if they're fragments. The practice of recording them increases recall, makes you more attentive to dreams. And over time, patterns emerge. Themes become clear. You start to understand your personal dream language, your recurring symbols, your typical concerns. This self-knowledge is valuable. It helps you understand yourself better, navigate your inner world more skillfully. And when a dream sticks with you, when it feels significant, sit with it. Think about it. Talk about it. Draw it. Let it work on you, and don't force interpretation. Let meaning emerge. Sometimes a dream's meaning is immediate and obvious. Other times it takes weeks or months or years to understand what it was showing you. Dreams are patient. They wait. They reveal themselves in their own time. Your job is just to pay attention, to remember, to be curious, to let the dream show you what it wants to show you. This is taking dreams seriously without taking them literally. This is respecting dreams as meaningful psychological events without requiring belief in supernatural causes. This is the middle path, the balanced approach, one that modern science can accept and ancient wisdom traditions would recognize. Dreams matter. They're part of being human. They deserve attention and respect and curiosity, not because they're magic, but because they're you, your mind at work, your unconscious processing and creating and communicating. And that's worth paying attention to. Dreams are a reminder that your mind is more than your conscious awareness, that there are processes happening below consciousness, that you're thinking and feeling and creating all the time, not just when you're aware of it. The boundary between conscious and unconscious isn't absolute. Dreams are where they overlap, where unconscious content becomes briefly conscious before fading again. The mystery of dreams is part of what makes them fascinating. We understand more than we used to. Brain imaging shows us which regions are active during dreams. We know more about sleep stages and REM cycles. We understand some of the chemistry and neuroscience. But we still don't know why dreams feel the way they do, why they're so strange, yet so compelling, why they create such powerful emotions from such absurd scenarios. And maybe we'll never fully explain them. Maybe dreams will always be partly mysterious, partly beyond scientific grasp, because they're subjective, first-person experiences. Consciousness itself isn't fully explained. And dreams are consciousness in a particular strange mode. Trying to explain them completely might be like trying to explain why music moves you or why beauty matters. Some experiences resist reduction. They're real and meaningful even if we can't fully explain them. So tonight, as you drift towards sleep, know that your dreaming mind is preparing. Soon you'll enter those landscapes it creates, those impossible scenarios that feel completely real. You'll experience emotions, tell yourself stories, solve problems, process your day, consolidate memories, all through the strange language of dreams. You won't remember most of it, but it's happening. Your mind working in the dark, creating while you rest. And some of what it creates might be valuable. a solution that appears by morning, an emotion processed, a fear faced, a desire acknowledged, a memory stored, or maybe just a strange adventure, a flight, a conversation, a landscape that doesn't exist but feels like home. All of it meaningful in its way, all of it part of being human, part of having a mind that never stops creating, even when you're not aware of it. Dreams are your nightly gift to yourself, a private world that exists only for you, a space where anything is possible, where your imagination runs free without logic or constraint, where you're both creator and audience, where you surprise yourself, where you're more than your waking self allows. So rest now. Let yourself drift. Let the dreams come. Whatever they bring, they're yours. They're part of you. They're your mind at play, your consciousness exploring, your being processing and creating and becoming. And that is enough. Thank you for spending this time here, exploring the mysteries of dreams and their hidden meanings. You've wandered through the landscapes of sleep tonight, the strange logic of dreams, the science and the mystery, the symbols and the emotions, the ways your sleeping mind speaks in images rather than words, the stories it tells, the places it builds, the feelings it creates from nothing. Some of these ideas will stay with you. Others will fade like dreams themselves. Both are fine. Both are part of how memory works, how attention works, how your mind decides what matters and what doesn't. Tonight has been a journey through the world of dreams, through the neuroscience and the psychology, through the ancient wisdom and the modern understanding, through the personal and the universal, through the mundane and the sacred. You've explored falling and flying, death and rebirth, animals and symbols, lucidity and confusion, fear and freedom. All of it part of the vast territory of dreaming. All of it part of being human. All of it happening every night while you sleep. And now, as this journey comes to an end, as you prepare to enter your own dreams, you don't need to carry all of it with you. You don't need to remember every detail, every fact, every idea. Your mind has been listening, absorbing, processing, making its own connections, taking what resonates, leaving what doesn't. This is how learning works, how understanding develops. Not by forcing yourself to memorize everything, but by letting your mind naturally select what matters to it, what's relevant, what's useful, what speaks to you. You don't need to hold on to everything you heard tonight. You don't need to remember every fact or every idea. Your mind has already absorbed what it needs, already made the connections that matter to you. The rest can drift away, can dissolve back into the quiet. That's not loss. That's natural. That's how your brain manages the constant flood of information. It keeps what's useful and releases the rest. Think about how much information you encounter every day, every conversation, every article, every observation, every thought. Your brain can't store all of it, doesn't need to store all of it. Most of it is irrelevant, unimportant, forgettable. So your brain filters, sorts, decides what to keep and what to discard. This happens automatically, below awareness. You don't consciously choose what to remember and what to forget. Your brain makes these decisions for you, based on what seems important, what has emotional weight, what connects to existing knowledge, what might be useful later. So the fact that you won't remember everything from tonight isn't a problem. It's not a failure. It's normal. natural, healthy. Your brain is doing its job, keeping what matters, releasing what doesn't. And what matters is different for everyone. Something that resonated with you might not resonate with someone else. Something that seemed insignificant to you might be exactly what someone else needed to hear. We all take different things from the same information. We all make different connections. We all remember different pieces. What you will remember, what will stay with you, are the ideas that touch something in you, that connected to your experience, that answered a question you've been holding, that gave words to something you felt, that showed you a new way of seeing. These ideas will linger, will integrate, will become part of how you think about dreams, about sleep, about consciousness, about yourself. Not because you tried to memorize them, but because they mattered to you, because they were relevant, because they were yours. As you drift towards sleep tonight, trust your dreaming mind. Trust that it knows what it's doing, that it's working even when you're not aware of it, that it's processing and creating and helping you become who you need to be. Your dreams aren't random. They're not meaningless, but they're also not puzzles you need to solve. They're not tests you can fail. They're simply your mind doing what it does naturally, working through the material of your life, sorting, connecting, processing, creating. This is an important understanding. Dreams are not homework. They're not assignments you need to complete. They're not problems you need to solve. They're not codes you need to crack. They're natural processes. Your mind doing its nightly work, just as your body repairs itself while you sleep, your mind processes itself, reviews the day, consolidates memories, works through emotions, makes connections, creates scenarios. All of this happens whether you're paying attention or not, whether you remember or not, whether you understand or not. You don't have to understand your dreams to benefit from them. You don't have to remember them. You don't have to interpret them. You don't have to keep a journal or analyze symbols or figure out what everything means. All of that can be interesting. All of that can be valuable if you're drawn to it, but it's not necessary. Dreams work whether you pay attention to them or not. They do their job in the background, in the dark. While you're unconscious, they don't require your conscious participation. This takes pressure off. You don't have to be a good dreamer. You don't have to work at dreaming. You don't have to remember or analyze or understand. You can just let it happen. Let your brain do what it does naturally. Let the process unfold without your interference, without your management, without your control. This is restful. This is what sleep is for. Letting go. Letting your conscious mind step aside. Letting the unconscious take over and do its work. Some people feel guilty about not remembering dreams, like they're missing something, losing something valuable, but you're not. The dreams did their work whether you remember them or not. They processed what needed processing. They connected what needed connecting. They worked through what needed working through. The benefits happened during the dream. In the experiencing of it, the remembering is optional. Nice if it happens, but not necessary for the dream to serve its function. Other people feel anxious about dreams, especially nightmares. They don't want to dream because they're afraid of what they'll dream about. But avoiding dreams isn't possible. You're going to dream whether you want to or not. Your brain needs to dream. It's part of sleep, part of being human. So instead of fearing dreams, instead of trying to avoid them, you can accept them. Let them happen. Know that even nightmares serve a purpose. They're working through fears, processing threats, rehearsing responses. They're uncomfortable, but they're useful. And most dreams aren't nightmares. Most dreams are neutral, strange but not frightening, confusing but not distressing, just your mind wandering, creating scenarios, playing with possibilities, experiencing, exploring. These dreams don't require anything from you. You don't have to do anything with them, just experience them, and then let them go. Let them fade. Let them return to the unconscious they came from. Just let them happen. Let your mind do what it does naturally. Let yourself rest while your dreaming self explores. You're about to enter that other world, that private realm that exists only for you, where the usual rules don't apply, where logic bends, where time moves strangely, where impossible things happen and feel completely normal, where you might fly, where you might meet people who don't exist, where you might return to places you haven't been in years, where you might experience emotions so vivid they wake you up. This other world is always there, waiting. Every night when you close your eyes and let sleep take you, you enter it. You cross that threshold between waking and dreaming, between consciousness and unconsciousness, between the known and the unknown. And on the other side is the dream world, your dream world, built by your mind, populated by your memories and fears and desires and imagination, governed by its own strange logic, its own rules that aren't quite rules, its own sense that isn't quite sense. In this world, you can do things you can't do while awake. You can fly. You can breathe underwater. You can talk to animals. You can visit places that don't exist. You can be someone else. You can be nowhere and everywhere at once. The limitations of physical reality don't apply. The laws of physics don't hold. Time doesn't flow linearly. Space doesn't behave consistently. Cause and effect become loose, optional, suggestions rather than rules. And all of this feels normal while you're in it. You don't question it. You don't think, wait, this doesn't make sense. You just experience it, live it, move through it. Accept whatever's happening as simply what's happening. The impossibilities are possible here. The contradictions coexist. The absurdities are reasonable. Your dreaming mind doesn't judge, doesn't analyze, doesn't compare to waking reality. It just experiences, just is, just flows with whatever arises. Where you might fly, lift off the ground without effort, move through air as easily as you walk, look down at the world below, feel the freedom of movement without constraint, without gravity, without limitation. Flying dreams are among the most joyful, most liberating, most memorable. You wake from them wishing you could fly again, wishing that freedom was available while awake. But it happened. You experienced it, even if only in a dream. Even if only for a few moments, you flew, where you might meet people who don't exist, characters your mind creates, with faces and voices and personalities. They seem real while you're dreaming. You talk to them, interact with them, feel things about them. They seem to have their own minds, their own will, but they're you, products of your imagination, aspects of yourself or others, combined, transformed, made into dream characters. And when you wake, they disappear. They never existed outside your dream, but while you were dreaming, they were as real as anyone. Where you might return to places you haven't been in years, your childhood home, your old school, a place you visited once long ago. And it's there in the dream. present, vivid, sometimes exactly as you remember it, sometimes transformed, changed in dream logic ways, but recognizable, familiar, and being there brings feelings, nostalgia, longing, comfort, sadness. The place carries emotional weight, memories, associations, and the dream lets you revisit it, lets you be there again, even though in waking life you might never return, where you might experience emotions so vivid they wake you up, joy so intense it brings tears, fear so powerful it makes your heart race, sadness so deep it feels like grief, love so overwhelming it fills your whole chest, anger so fierce it clenches your fists. These emotions are real, genuine. Even though their causes are imaginary, even though the dream scenarios aren't real, the feelings are real. They're yours. Your brain is generating them. Your body is responding to them. And sometimes they're so strong they pull you out of sleep. You wake with the emotions still flooding you, still feeling it intensely even as the dream fades. This is one of the most remarkable aspects of dreaming, that the emotions are real, completely real as any emotion you feel while awake. Your brain doesn't distinguish between emotions triggered by real events and emotions triggered by dream events. The neural pathways are the same. The chemical responses are the same. The physical sensations are the same. Your heart racing from dream fear is the same heart racing as from real fear. Your tears from dream joy are the same tears as from real joy. The emotion itself is genuine, authentic, real. Joy so intense it brings tears. You've probably experienced this, waking from a dream with tears on your face. Tears of happiness, of relief, of overwhelming joy. The dream showed you something beautiful, something wonderful. Maybe a reunion with someone you love, maybe an achievement you've been working toward, maybe just a moment of pure happiness, of everything being right, of feeling complete. And the joy was so intense, so overwhelming, that your body cried, released the emotion through tears, through your breath catching, through your chest expanding, through every cell feeling the happiness. And when you wake, the joy lingers for a few moments, or maybe longer. You're still feeling it, still smiling, still crying maybe, still filled with that happiness. Even as you remember it was a dream, even as you realize the wonderful thing that happened didn't really happen. The joy doesn't immediately disappear. It stays, it remains. Because it was real. The emotion was real. Your brain experienced it, your body experienced it. And that experience doesn't vanish just because you realize its trigger was imaginary. This can be bittersweet. You wake happy but also sad that it was just a dream, that the wonderful thing didn't really happen, that the person you reunited with isn't really there, that the achievement didn't really occur. The joy is real, but its cause isn't. And this creates a complex feeling: gratitude for the joy, sadness at its source being false, longing for it to be real, but also simple happiness that you experienced it at all, that your mind gave you that gift, that you felt that joy, even if only in a dream, even if only for a few moments, you felt it. And that matters. Fear so powerful it makes your heart race. This is more common, more familiar. Nightmares that terrify you, that make your heart pound, that make you breathe fast, that make you sweat, that make your whole body tense. The fear is primal, overwhelming, You're being chased or attacked or facing some terrible threat, and your body responds as if it's real. Your fight or flight system activates. Adrenaline floods your system. Your muscles prepare to run or fight. Your senses sharpen. Your focus narrows. Every part of you is responding to danger. Except there is no danger. You're lying in bed, safe. The threat is in your mind, in the dream. But your body doesn't know that, can't distinguish. It's responding to the threat signal from your brain. And that response is real. Your racing heart is real. Your rapid breathing is real. Your tense muscles are real. Your fear is real, even though the threat isn't. When you wake from a nightmare, the fear doesn't stop immediately. You wake with your heart pounding, with that sick feeling in your stomach, with your body still tense and ready to fight or flee. You might be disoriented, not sure for a moment where you are, not sure if you're safe. It takes time for your body to calm down, for your nervous system to realize there's no actual danger, for your heart rate to slow, for your breathing to deepen, for the adrenaline to clear. The fear was so intense, it takes time to release it, to let it go, to come back to calm. And sometimes the fear lingers even longer. The nightmare stays with you. The images, the feelings. Hours later, or even days later, you remember it, and the fear comes back. Not as intensely, but it's there, a shadow of it, a reminder. The nightmare touched something deep, some primal fear, some ancient terror. And it doesn't let go easily. It stays with you, works on you, reminds you of your vulnerability, your mortality, your capacity to be afraid, sadness so deep it feels like grief. Dreams can break your heart, can make you cry with sadness, with loss. You dream someone died, someone you love. And in the dream, you feel the grief, the terrible emptiness, the crushing weight of loss, the knowledge that they're gone, that you'll never see them again, never hear their voice, never hold them. The grief is total, complete, devastating, and it's real. You're experiencing real grief, even though the loss is imaginary, even though the person is still alive in waking life. Or you dream about your own losses, people who have died, relationships that ended, things you've lost. And the dream takes you back to that grief, makes you feel it again, freshly, intensely, as if it just happened. The wound is reopened, the pain is current, you're grieving all over again, and when you wake, you're crying, you're heavy with sadness, you're feeling the loss, real grief, even though it happened in a dream. This sadness can be healing. Dreams let you process grief, let you feel it in a safe space, let you express it without inhibition, without judgment, without anyone watching. You can cry as much as you need, feel as deeply as you need. Let the grief move through you. And often, you wake feeling lighter, feeling relieved, like you released something, like the dream gave you space to feel what you've been holding, space to grieve what needs grieving. But sometimes the sadness is just sad, just painful. You wake feeling heavy, feeling the weight of loss, feeling sorrow that doesn't have anywhere to go, doesn't resolve into anything, just sits there, heavy, real. The dream gave you sadness without relief, without resolution, just the pure experience of grief, and you carry it for hours, for the day. The dream sadness bleeding into waking sadness, coloring everything, making everything feel heavier. Love so overwhelming it fills your whole chest. Dreams of love are powerful, beautiful. You dream about someone you love, or someone you want to love, or someone you used to love. And in the dream, the love is pure, complete, unconditional. You feel it radiating from your chest, filling you, expanding you. You're made of love. You're nothing but love. And it's directed at this person, this being, this dream presence. And they love you back. You feel their love, know their love, and it's perfect. It's everything. It's all you've ever wanted. You might wake crying from this too, but not from sadness, from fullness, from beauty, from the intensity of feeling so much love, from the gift of experiencing that, even if only in a dream. Your chest still feels full, still feels expanded, still feels warm. The love lingers, stays with you, colors your morning, makes you gentle, makes you tender, makes you grateful for love, for the capacity to love, for having experienced it so purely, so completely, even if only in the dream world. Sometimes you don't remember who you loved in the dream. You wake with the feeling of love, but no memory of the object. You loved someone, something, but you don't know who or what. Just the feeling remains. The fullness, the warmth, the tenderness. And this is strange, but also beautiful. To experience love without attachment to a specific person. Love as pure feeling, as pure experience, as something your heart does, something you are, not just something you feel toward another, but something you are capable of generating, experiencing, being, or you remember exactly who it was. And if it's someone available, someone in your life, you wake wanting to tell them, wanting to express the love you felt, wanting to connect, wanting to be close. The dream reminded you how much you love them, how much they matter, how grateful you are for them. Or if it's someone unavailable, someone from the past, someone who's gone, you wake with longing, with sadness mixed with the love, with the bittersweet recognition that you love them, still love them, but can't be with them, can't tell them, can't hold them. The love is real but has nowhere to go. Anger so fierce it clenches your fists. You wake with your jaw tight, your fists clenched, your body tense with rage. You were angry in the dream, furious at someone, at something, at an injustice, at a betrayal, at a violation. And the anger was total, consuming. You wanted to fight, to yell, to destroy, to hurt. The rage was primal, pure, unfiltered by social restraint or consequence. You were just angry, completely angry, nothing but angry. And you wake with it still in your body, still clenched, still tense, still ready to fight. Your nervous system is activated. Your body is flooded with the chemistry of anger, with the energy of rage. And it takes time to discharge, to release, to let go. You might need to move, to shake, to breathe deeply, to consciously relax your muscles, to let the anger move through and out, because it's stuck in your body. The dream generated it, and now you have to process it, have to let it dissipate. Sometimes the anger makes sense. You dreamed about something that actually makes you angry in waking life. Some frustration, some injustice, some hurt. And the dream let you feel the full force of it, let you express it, let you experience your rage without constraint. This can be cathartic. Releasing. You wake angry, but also somehow lighter. like you vented something, released pressure. Let the anger out in the safe space of dreams so it doesn't have to leak out in waking life. Other times, the anger seems to come from nowhere. You don't know why you were angry. Don't remember what happened in the dream. Just wake with the feeling, with the tension, with rage sitting in your body without a clear target, without a clear reason. And this is confusing, unsettling. You're angry, but you don't know why. Don't know at what. The dream accessed anger that was buried, hidden, unconscious, and brought it to the surface. And now you have to deal with it, have to acknowledge it, have to figure out what to do with it. These emotions are real, genuine. This can't be emphasized enough. Your emotions in dreams are not fake, not simulated, not lesser than waking emotions. They're the same. Your brain generates them the same way. Your body responds to them the same way. They feel the same way. They are real emotions. The only difference is their trigger. They're triggered by imaginary events instead of real events. But the emotions themselves are genuine, authentic, real, even though their causes are imaginary, even though the dream scenarios aren't real. This is the paradox, the weird disconnect. The scenario is false, didn't happen, never existed outside your mind. But the emotion is true, did happen, does exist, in your mind and in your body. You're feeling real emotion about an imaginary situation. This happens in waking life too. You feel emotion about movies, about books, about stories. You know they're not real, but you feel for them anyway. Dreams are like this, but more intense, more visceral, more convincing while they're happening. The feelings are real. They're yours. Your brain is generating them. No one else's brain. Yours. This is your emotion, your fear, your joy, your sadness, your love, your anger. It belongs to you. It's coming from your own neural activity, from your own chemistry, from your own body. It's as real as any emotion you've ever felt, as valid, as genuine. It matters. It counts. It's part of your emotional life, part of your experience, part of being you. Your body is responding to them. Your heart is racing or slowing. Your breath is changing. Your muscles are tensing or relaxing. Your temperature is shifting. Your chemistry is changing. Hormones are being released. Neurotransmitters are firing. Physical changes are happening throughout your body in response to the emotion. Your body doesn't know the emotion is triggered by a dream. It just responds, does what it does when that emotion arises, prepares you, changes you, reacts. And sometimes they're so strong they pull you out of sleep. The emotion is intense enough to wake you, to bring you back to consciousness. This is your body's way of dealing with intense emotion, of protecting you from it maybe, or of making you conscious so you can process it, so you can understand it, so you can do something about it. The emotion has crossed a threshold, become too intense to remain unconscious. So you wake, and you're flooded with the feeling, overwhelmed by it, still caught in it, even as the dream dissolves. You wake with the emotion still flooding you, still feeling it intensely even as the dream fades. This is the strange moment. You're awake, but the emotion from the dream is still completely present, still powerful, still real. You're in your bed, in your room, in the waking world, but you're feeling the dream emotion. It hasn't faded yet, hasn't diminished. It's right there, as strong as it was in the dream, maybe even stronger now that you're awake and aware of it, now that you can name it, can recognize it, can feel it consciously. and gradually it fades. The emotion begins to release, to soften, to diminish. Your body calms, your breath steadies, your heart slows, the chemistry changes, the intensity decreases. The emotion that was flooding you begins to drain away, begins to return to wherever emotions go when they're done. And you're left with the memory, with the residue, with the knowledge that you felt that you experienced it, that it was real. Even though the dream that caused it is gone, even though you might not remember the details, the emotion was real. And for a few moments or a few minutes, it was everything. It was all you felt. It was who you were. And now it's fading, leaving, letting you return to yourself, to calm, to neutral, to ready for the day or ready to return to sleep. All of this is coming soon, in a little while. As you let yourself relax, as you let consciousness fade, as you cross that boundary into sleep, your dreaming mind is waiting, ready. It will take you places, show you things, let you experience things, create worlds for you, tell you stories, give you feelings, all of it unique, all of it yours, all of it happening in the private theater of your sleeping mind. And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to prepare. You don't have to try. You just have to sleep, just have to let go, just have to surrender to the natural process of sleep and dreaming. Your brain knows what to do. It's done this every night of your life. It will do it tonight. It will do it every night for the rest of your life. This is built in, automatic, natural. You don't have to make it happen. It happens on its own. So trust it. Trust the process. Trust your mind. Trust that whatever dreams come are the dreams that needed to come. That whatever gets processed is what needed processing. That whatever gets created is what wanted to be created. You don't have to understand it. You don't have to control it. You just have to allow it. Let it happen. Let your dreaming mind do its work while you rest. And rest is what you need most right now. Rest from thinking. Rest from trying. Rest from being awake and aware and conscious. Rest from managing and controlling and directing. Just rest. Just sleep. Just let yourself sink into the darkness, into the quiet, into the peace of not having to be conscious anymore, not having to be aware, not having to do anything, just being, just existing, just sleeping. Your dreams will come. They always do. They'll take you on journeys through landscapes of memory and imagination, through scenarios strange and familiar, through emotions deep and shallow, through experiences impossible and ordinary. And all of it will fade when you wake. Most of it will be forgotten, but it will have done its work. It will have served its purpose. It will have given you what you needed, even if you don't know what that was, even if you don't remember, even if you never understand. This is the gift of dreams. This is the gift of sleep. This is the gift your mind gives you every night. A private world, a secret realm, a space where anything is possible, where you can be anyone, where you can go anywhere, where you can feel anything. All of it created by you, for you, in the safe darkness of sleep, in the mystery of dreams, in the nightly theater that plays only for you. So let go now. Let yourself drift. Let the waking world fade. Let consciousness dissolve. Let sleep take you. Let your dreaming mind begin its work. Let the dreams come. Whatever they are, whatever they bring, let them happen. Experience them, live them, and then let them go. Let them fade. Let them return to wherever dreams go, when they're over, back into the unconscious, back into the mystery, back into the quiet. And tomorrow, when you wake, you'll have slept, you'll have dreamed, you'll have rested. Your mind will have done its nightly work, processed what needed processing, created what needed creating, worked through what needed working through. And you'll be ready, ready for another day, ready for waking life, ready for consciousness again, because you rested, because you slept, because you dreamed, because you let your mind do what it does naturally every night. What it's doing right now, what it will keep doing, as long as you live, as long as you sleep, as long as you dream. All of this is coming. In a little while, as your body relaxes, as your breathing slows, as your conscious mind finally lets go of the day, your dreaming mind will roam over. It's been waiting, patient, ready. It knows what to do. It's done this every night of your life. It will do it tonight, and tomorrow night, and every night after. This is its work. This is what it does. And it does it whether you remember or not, whether you understand or not, whether you think about it or not. Soon you'll be dreaming, creating worlds, living other lives, feeling things deeply, flying or falling or simply wandering, running through landscapes that shift and change, talking to people who might be strangers or might be aspects of yourself, solving problems that don't exist, facing fears that aren't real but feel real in the moment, experiencing joy or sadness or confusion or peace. All of it generated by your own mind, all of it happening inside your skull, inside the electrochemical dance of neurons. But feeling vast, feeling infinite, feeling as real as anything you experience while awake. All of it part of the process, all of it part of being human, all of it gift and mystery both. Gift because it's free. You don't have to do anything to receive it. You just have to sleep, just have to let go. And your mind gives you these experiences, these adventures, these emotions, these stories, mystery. Because we still don't fully understand why dreams feel the way they do, why they're so strange, why they matter. We know some of the mechanics, some of the neuroscience, but the experience itself remains mysterious. First person, subjective, yours alone. No one else will ever experience your dreams. They happen in private. In the theater of your own consciousness, other people can experience similar dreams, can dream about similar things, can feel similar emotions. But your specific dreams, with your specific content happening in your specific consciousness, those are yours alone. Unique, unrepeatable. Even if you tell someone about a dream, they're not experiencing it. They're imagining it based on your description. But the actual experience, that was only yours. This is part of what makes dreams precious. They're moments of complete privacy, complete interiority. In waking life, you're always in context, always in relationship to others, always part of a shared world. But in dreams, you're alone. Not lonely, just alone, just with yourself. Your mind creating for itself, entertaining itself, working through its own concerns in its own language. No one watching, no one judging, no one needing anything from you. You can be completely yourself in dreams, more yourself than you are while awake. Because there are no social constraints, no expectations to meet, no image to maintain. You don't have to be polite or reasonable or appropriate. You can feel what you feel without filtering it. You can want what you want without justifying it. You can be afraid or angry or sad or joyful without worrying about how it looks. Dreams are freedom. Freedom from the constant management of being a social self. And sometimes what emerges in that freedom is surprising. You discover things about yourself, fears you didn't know you had, desires you weren't aware of, aspects of yourself that don't get expressed in waking life. Not because they're bad or wrong, but because they don't fit, because daily life doesn't make space for them. But dreams make space. Dreams let everything out. Let everything play. Let all the parts of you exist without judgment. This is healthy. This is necessary. You need this time when all of you can exist. When you don't have to be only the acceptable parts, only the functional parts, only the parts that fit into your life. All of you gets to exist in dreams, the parts you like and the parts you don't, the parts you show people and the parts you hide, the parts you're proud of and the parts you're ashamed of. All of it gets to be there. All of it gets to move and speak and act. And this is part of how you stay whole, how you stay integrated, how you avoid splitting yourself into acceptable and unacceptable pieces. So as you drift now, as you feel yourself getting closer to sleep, know that you're moving towards something good, something necessary, something that's been happening your whole life and will continue happening. Your nightly journey into your own mind, your nightly exploration of inner space, your nightly creativity, your nightly processing, your nightly rest and renewal. This isn't something new. This isn't something you have to learn. You've been doing this since before you can remember, since you were born. Every night of your life, thousands and thousands of nights, sleeping, dreaming, resting. Your body knows this rhythm. Your brain knows this cycle. It's as natural as breathing, as automatic as your heartbeat. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to make it happen. It happens because that's what bodies do. That's what brains do. That's what being human means. And it's good. It's necessary. You need this, every night. Without it, you couldn't function, couldn't think clearly, couldn't regulate your emotions, couldn't remember, couldn't learn, couldn't be healthy. Sleep isn't optional. It's not a luxury. It's not wasted time. It's essential. It's when your body repairs itself, when your brain organizes itself, when your mind processes itself, when you restore yourself, when you become ready for another day. And dreaming is part of that, part of the restoration, part of the processing, part of what sleep does. You'll dream tonight, multiple times, moving through sleep cycles. REM, IM periods where dreams happen. You won't remember most of them, but they'll happen. They'll do their work. They'll process your emotions, consolidate your memories, work through your concerns, create connections, generate scenarios, all of it happening while you sleep, while you're unconscious, while you're resting. Your nightly journey into your own mind, that's what sleep is. A journey inward, away from the external world, away from stimulation and demand and interaction. Inward, into yourself, into your own consciousness, into the private spaces of your mind, the places no one else can go. The inner landscapes, the dream worlds, the unconscious territories. Every night you travel there, every night you explore, not consciously, not deliberately, but it happens. You go inward. You spend hours in your own mind, in your own imagination, in your own processing, your nightly exploration of inner space. This is a beautiful way to think about dreams, as exploration, as discovery. You're exploring territories that only exist inside you, landscapes built from your memories and feelings and thoughts, places that shift and change, that follow their own logic, that surprise you, that show you things you didn't know were there. Every night is a new exploration, a new journey into the vast inner space of your own mind, your nightly creativity. Because dreaming is creative. You're creating worlds, creating scenarios, creating characters, creating experiences, all from nothing. From the raw material of memory and emotion and imagination. Your brain is incredibly creative when you sleep. More creative than when you're awake in many ways, because it's not limited by logic, not constrained by reality, not filtered by the conscious mind's need for things to make sense. It can create freely, wildly, impossibly, and it does every night, creating dreams, creating experiences, creating your inner world, your nightly processing. This is the work dreams do, processing the day, the experiences, the emotions, the information, everything that happened, everything you felt, everything you thought. It all needs processing, sorting, integrating, understanding. And dreams do this. They review, they connect, they organize, they make sense of things, they work through difficult emotions, they solve problems, they prepare you, they help you understand. All of this happens while you sleep, while you dream, while you're unconscious of the work being done, your nightly rest and renewal. This is the gift of sleep. Rest, true rest. When you're not doing anything, not trying to do anything, not responsible for anything, just resting, your body resting, your mind resting, your whole being resting. And in that rest, renewal happens. You restore energy, you repair damage, you replenish resources, you become ready again, ready for consciousness, ready for activity, ready for life. Sleep is where renewal happens, where you become yourself again. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to try. You don't have to make anything happen. It happens on its own. Your body knows how to sleep. Your brain knows how to dream. They've been doing this forever. They'll do it tonight. All you have to do is let go. Stop trying to stay awake. Stop trying to stay in control. Stop thinking about what you need to do tomorrow or what you did today. Just let it all go. Let yourself sink. Let yourself drift. Let yourself float towards sleep. This is the practice. This is the art of falling asleep. Letting go. Not trying, not forcing, not controlling, just allowing. Allowing your body to do what it knows how to do. Allowing your mind to do what it knows how to do. Allowing the natural process of sleep to unfold. You don't make sleep happen. You allow it to happen. You get out of the way. You stop interfering. You stop trying. You let go. Your body knows how to sleep. It's done this every night of your life. It knows exactly what to do, how to relax the muscles, how to slow the breathing, how to quiet the heart rate, how to change the brain waves, how to move through the stages of sleep, from light to deep, from non-REM to REM, cycling through the night. Your body orchestrates this perfectly, without your conscious involvement, without your direction. It knows, it's always known. You can trust it. Your brain knows how to dream. It's been dreaming as long as you've been sleeping. It knows how to generate the images, the scenarios, the emotions, the sensations. It knows how to create dream worlds, how to populate them, how to move through them, how to wake you when needed, how to let you continue sleeping when appropriate. Your brain is an expert at dreaming. It doesn't need your help. It doesn't need your guidance. It just needs you to get out of the way, to stop trying to control, to let it do what it does naturally. They've been doing this forever. Your body, your brain, since before you were born even. Sleep patterns begin in the womb. Dreaming begins before birth. This is ancient, built in, fundamental to being human, fundamental to being a mammal, fundamental to having a complex brain. Sleep and dreams are as old as you are, older. They're part of your inheritance, part of what it means to be alive, to be conscious, to be you. They'll do it tonight. You can trust this. You will sleep tonight. You will dream tonight. It's not a question. It's not uncertain. It will happen because it always happens, because it has to happen, because your body and brain need it to happen. So it will. The only question is when. How quickly you let go. How soon you allow the process to begin. But it will begin. It will happen. You will sleep. You will dream. You will rest. All you have to do is let go. This is the only instruction, the only thing you need to do. And it's not really doing, it's undoing. It's stopping the doing, stopping the trying, stopping the controlling, just letting go, releasing, surrendering, allowing. This is harder than it sounds for many people because we're so used to doing, to trying, to managing, to controlling. We think we have to make things happen, but with sleep, you can't make it happen. You can only allow it to happen. Stop trying to stay awake. You might not even realize you're doing this, but there's probably some part of you that's holding on to consciousness, holding on to waking, holding on to control, some tension, some resistance, some part that's not quite ready to let go, that's afraid to let go, that wants to stay aware just a little longer. Notice that part, acknowledge it, and then let it relax, let it release, let it soften. You don't need to hold on. It's safe to let go. It's okay to stop being awake. It's okay to sleep. Stop trying to stay in control. Control is for waking life, when you're conscious and active and making decisions. But sleep requires the opposite, requires giving up control, handing it over to the unconscious processes, to the body, to the brain, to the natural rhythms and cycles. You can't control sleep. You can't control dreams. You can only surrender to them. Let them happen. Let them take you. Let them do what they do. Control and sleep don't go together. You have to choose. And right now, you're choosing sleep, which means choosing to let go of control. Stop thinking about what you need to do tomorrow or what you did today. Your mind wants to do this, wants to plan and review and worry and prepare, but this keeps you awake, keeps you in waking mode, keeps you engaged with the external world, with time, with responsibilities, with concerns. For sleep to come, you need to let all of that go. It will still be there tomorrow, all of it. The things you need to do, the things you're worried about, the things you're planning. They'll all be there when you wake. But right now, you don't need to think about them. Right now, you can let them go. Let them wait. Let them be tomorrow's concern, not tonight's. Tonight is for sleep, for rest, for letting go. Just let it all go. All of it. Everything you're holding, everything you're thinking about, everything you're worried about, everything you're planning, everything you're remembering. All of it. Let it go. Release it. Set it down. You don't need it right now. You don't need any of it. Right now, you just need to sleep, just need to rest, just need to let go, and you can. You can let it all go. It's safe to let it go. It will be there tomorrow if you need it, but right now, you don't need it. Right now, you just need to release it. Let it float away. Let it dissolve. Let it fade into the background. Let yourself sink. This is what falling asleep feels like: sinking, descending, moving downward, not physically, but mentally, energetically. You're sinking into your body, into the bed, into relaxation, into quiet, into darkness, into sleep. Let yourself sink. Don't resist the sinking. Don't try to stay at the surface. Let yourself go down. Let yourself be pulled gently downward, into rest, into peace, into sleep. Let yourself drift. This is another way to describe it. Drifting, floating, moving without direction, without purpose. Just drifting, like a boat on calm water, just floating wherever the current takes you. No steering, no rowing, no controlling, just drifting. Let your mind drift. Let your thoughts drift. Let your awareness drift. Don't hold on to anything. Don't focus on anything. Just drift. Let yourself be carried. Let yourself move. Let yourself float gently towards sleep. Let yourself float towards sleep. Sleep is there, waiting. Just ahead, just below the surface. You're moving toward it, gently, gradually, naturally. You don't have to do anything to get there. You're already on your way, already moving toward it, already floating in that direction. Just keep letting go, keep releasing, keep sinking, keep drifting, keep floating, and sleep will come. It's coming. You're moving toward it. It's moving toward you. The gap is closing. The distance is shrinking. Soon, very soon, sleep will arrive. You'll cross that threshold. You'll enter that other state, that other world, that rest, that peace, that sleep. And when you do, when you finally let go completely, when you finally sink all the way down, when you finally drift into sleep, everything will be okay. You'll be safe. You'll be at rest. Your body will do its work. Your brain will do its work. Your dreams will do their work. And you'll rest, truly rest, deeply rest. The rest you need, the rest you deserve, the rest that's waiting for you right now, right here, so close. Just let go. Just a little more. Just sink. Just drift. Just float. Just let sleep take you. Let it come. Let it happen. Let yourself sleep. And once you're there, once you've crossed that boundary between waking and sleeping, your dreaming mind takes over. And it will take you places, show you things, let you experience things. Some of it will make sense. Some won't. Some will feel meaningful. Some will feel random. All of it will be your mind at work, your consciousness in a different mode, your being processing and creating and exploring. You might remember some of it when you wake. You might remember nothing. Either way is fine. Either way, the dreams will have done their work. You don't need to remember them for them to matter. They matter in the moment. They matter for what they're doing, neurologically, chemically, psychologically. They matter because they're part of being you, part of having a human brain, part of being a creature that dreams. And when you wake tomorrow, whenever that is, you'll have slept. You'll have dreamed. You'll have rested. Your mind will have done its nightly maintenance. Sorted memories, processed emotions, made connections, weakened irrelevant pathways, strengthened important ones, worked through concerns, rehearsed scenarios, created stories, generated images, all of it happening without your conscious effort, all of it gift. So rest now, trust the process, trust your mind, trust that it knows what to do, Trust that dreams serve you whether you understand them or not. Trust that sleep is healing, that rest is necessary, that you don't have to understand everything or control everything or remember everything. You just have to let it happen. Let your body grow heavy. Let your breath slow. Let your thoughts become distant, like voices fading, like images blurring, like you're moving away from the waking world and toward the dreaming world. That threshold, that boundary, you're approaching it now, and soon you'll cross it. Soon you'll be on the other side. Soon you'll be dreaming. And whatever your dreams bring tonight, they're yours. They're part of you. They're your mind's gift to itself, its nightly creativity, its private theater, its secret work. You don't have to do anything with them, don't have to remember them or understand them or learn from them, though you might, though they might offer something valuable. But even if they don't, even if you remember nothing, even if they seem like nonsense, they've still served their purpose. They've still done what dreams do. So let go now. Let yourself drift into that other world, that dream world, that place your mind creates every night, that private universe, that impossible landscape. Let yourself become the dreaming you, the you who flies, the you who creates, the you who explores, the you who isn't bound by logic or physics or social rules, the you who simply experiences, simply feels, simply wanders through whatever your mind presents. This is your time, your space, your private adventure, your nightly gift, your mystery, your rest, your renewal, your dreams. Let them come. Good night.